Okay. We about our fucking business. Oh god, no, I don't think I forgot to do well, every single day for my entire life I have forgotten to do an Instagram story telling people that I'm going live on Twitch, but I don't think it happens. I don't think it happens today. What's up, Fury Titan? Thank you for the weed. Tift! Thank you for being awake. Appreciate you being 10 toes. 5 more minutes, please. Not allowed. What's up, Lemon? How you doing? Hello, Ungodly One. Thank you for stopping by the YouTube stream. Let me pop open that manager so that I can caress you all sweetly through the internet. Hello, Dale. Welcome to the stream. Why are you pissing all over? What? Leak? Ah, okay, leaking. Okay. Okay. Casey, life is good. I hope your life is good as well. What's up, Salty? Helios, I'm doing okay. Darth Pius, thank you for that tier 1 Twitch sub, my friend, for the 16th month in a row. Raising some children out here. Troper, thank you for the 15th month at tier 1. Hey, Maul, it's been 15 months and I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for help making my life immeasurably better and helping me rediscover my love of the game. Also, I hope today's deck brings you nothing but pain because we both know I'm nowhere near the peak of the pyramid. Troper, thank you so much for your kind words and your ongoing support. And listen, I know there's peak within you. You are like the inverse Kylo Ren. We just need you to listen to the dark side a little bit more. You're too good a person, and one of these days I'm going to make you worse enough that we reach peak. Axeman Bat, thank you for the 100-bit cheer. Hi, Mauld, I'm disappointed by the unbanned severely. Yeah, Axe, are you just disappointed you don't have 5,000 additional dollars of flex to shove into your flubs deck? What's the disappointment? Tell me the disappointment. We all know Jeweled Lotus deserves to die in prison. Drapey, there's 3 ways to get your deck roasted. The first way is we have a free roast stream happening at the beginning of every month. That's going to happen May 3rd. It's a raffle you buy into with Twitch channel points. So keep watching. If you don't make it into that, the deck roast streams get sold as a commission via Ko-Fi. That's going to go on sale on May 4th. The command is out of date. The slots are going up to $69 next month because I thought it would be funny and because we are selling out of them very quickly. The final way, if you just can't wait, you can spend $500 and I will roast your deck on the spot. We will stop what we are doing. We will make it happen right then for you. But those are the 3 methods. I can give a realistic and understandable reason why Jeweled Lotus should be unbanned if we are only referring to CEDH. Yeah, and if your grandma had wheels, she'd be a bike. Like, it's totally... There are a great number of reasons why we could allow Jeweled Lotus to exist in CEDH to make a lot of turbo stuff more reasonable. But the problem is CEDH and EDH are currently operating off the same ban list, and we're probably never going to get them separated or not going to get them separated for a long time. Also, Katazumi, thank you for the 5 gifted community subs. Welcome back to Dog Heaven. I appreciate your ongoing generosity. So it's like, yeah, it's not particularly difficult to make an argument for why Jeweled Lotus should be allowed into CEDH. But I think any of those arguments fall apart as soon as we begin expanding it to Commander broadly. And right now, we're all a family. No legs. Custom card ratings do not get done outside during deck roast streams. Custom card ratings are only done during variety streams. There's been 1 or 2 instances where we do a custom card at the beginning of a deck roast stream, mainly when I have forgotten to follow through with a redeem that was claimed during a variety stream. But otherwise, if I leave the button on and you click it, we'll do it on a variety day. But otherwise, most of the time I remember to leave the button off. Hello, beeps. Yes, they're only done when I'm trying to get Mauled to do literally anything else. Yeah, like, thank you, beeps. Love you, buddy. But yes, the custom card redeems only get done when Beard Princess is trying to trick me into doing anything productive. D-Man, thank you for the 6 months in a row at tier 1. Why are we yelling? Also, hello, Mauled. I'm yelling because I don't know how to modulate my volume because I'm a gremlin. And Trapey, thank you for the Prime sub, my friend. I appreciate those Jeffrey dollars. Welcome to the dog home. Also, Axeman, I know, and that's why I'm not mad, just disappointed, just like Mauld's father. I'm actually impervious to that remark because my dad is dead, and he died right after hearing I got my high school crush to go on a date with me. That motherfucker died proud. He sucked. He sucked. But the last conversation I had with him was like, yeah, Dad. And she said we might kiss. And he was like, oh my God, finally you're going to kiss a girl. He said that to me. And then he died. So boing whip. Boing whip, my father's not proud of me. My father died believing I was the GOAT. Did I kiss that girl? No. So thank God he didn't hold on for an extra day. Because that would have been embarrassing. That would have been truly embarrassing. So you've never kissed a girl. How did he die? He died in the hospital. He was in the hospital because his lungs collapsed. I never asked about the details because he was a crazy alcoholic. So like his liver and kidneys were hanging on by a fucking thread. So it was mostly just kind of the systemic fatigue of having a lung be collapsed, having heart issues, and having kidney and liver issues because of his rampaging alcoholism. It wasn't both lungs. It was he had an ongoing condition where like every couple years one of his lungs would collapse. So it was not both, but it was one collapsed. That shit is not supposed to collapse, Guildpact. We also got to hit the manual ad break so that we can get into everybody's roastings. Today we have Troper, Starry Eyes, and Rose Knight. I've seen Troper, I've seen Rose. I'm looking out for Starry Eyes if I haven't seen you yet. So Starry Eyes, sound off. I know, I don't know. We're doing them so that nobody else gets pre-rolls. Did your dad's alcohol abuse influence your alcohol addiction? Yes, but in the way of it influenced me getting sober much sooner than I think I otherwise would have. I think if my dad had not been such a crushing alcoholic and not died because of his alcoholism, it probably would have taken me a lot longer to decide to be sober. But a lot of the time it was like I would think about my drinking and then I would think about my dad's life and I would be like, maybe the only way to win this fight is to not start it. When I looked at, because he spent a lot of time trying to drink responsibly. Like he spent many years trying all these different things to be a like, yeah, I'm gonna enjoy responsibly, like the Dos Equis ad tells you to. And whenever I would think about that, I was like, oh, maybe you just win by never getting into the arena. And then I stopped drinking. Hey Mauled, I've been trying to meet your challenge of building Boros aggro. I'm considering a Neem Pakal, but most of my lists feel too slow. I'm considering tearing up the foundation and just rebuilding around someone else. I'm thinking of Aurelia the War Leader as a counterweight commander to act as an easy finisher to an otherwise low-to-the-ground aggro game plan. What are your thoughts on Boros commanders, though, Mauled? Both of those options sound fine. A Neem Pakal definitely shouldn't be slow. There's a lot of negative qualities we could assign to a Neem Pakal. Slow is not one of those. That bitch is busting at lightning speed, okay? They use that bitch to study fucking quantum mechanics at CERN. As Tatty Bojangles is saying, one you may want to look at. This is a great, like, you're gonna sound. I'm gonna sound crazy when I say this. Great grindy commander. This is a tremendous, like, grindy commander where you can play for the longer game. You can sort of, like, explode with damage. You can explode with damage if you get the nut draw. But you don't have to crash out because you have a little bit of life gain. You can kind of, like, wait until you get the right creatures to make your stuff evasive, to make your stuff indestructible. It's, yeah. Axeman Bat, thank you for the 45-bit cheer, and I'm glad you are proud of me in place of my fucked up dad. And DMC, thank you for the 9 months in a row at tier 1, my friend. Welcome back to the dog home. You could definitely fuck this up with a little bit of mobilize. I don't know if it's the, like, level best strategy, but it definitely works. William Perry wants to know, what do I have to do to have my deck analyzed? Just make a PowerPoint and send it over. William, there's 3 ways. The first way is free. It's the only free way. On Twitch, at the beginning of every month, we do a free raffle stream, which you buy into with channel points. So, if you want the chance to get your deck roasted for free, come watch on Twitch. On May 3rd, we will be doing a, like, 5-hour stream, roasting as many decks as possible, and you can get a raffle ticket on that day. If you missed that, it's no longer a Patreon thing, Grungy Gay, although I do appreciate you trying to help him out. It's now a Ko-Fi thing. The having it tied to, like, an ongoing Patreon membership was leading to a lot of, like, sour grapes on the months you didn't get in. So now it is just we sell them as commissions on Ko-Fi. That's going to go on sale on May 4th at noon Pacific. If you don't get into that, or you just can't wait, you can also send me $500 and I will stop whatever I'm doing to roast your deck. Okay, and then we're just about out of ad breaks, but we have 2 random Smasher passes to do. And Starry, I did see you. Phoenix Blaze, yes, $500 is an incredible amount of money. You only get 1 deck for it. It's mostly as a bit. I did not anticipate that there would be a number of insane people, kind of like 2 people who are in this chat, Axeman Bat and Dungeon Masters Consortium, who, for the bit, would drop $500. But the $500 thing was legitimately somebody asked, oh, but there has to be a price that would make you do it right now, right? And I was like, oh, sure, yeah, there's a price. Like, yes, there is a price. I'm going to put it's $500. It was a thing where I was like, I'm going to do this because if I'm being realistic, of course I would do it for $500, but I want to make it high enough to make it clear it's not a, like, it's not a thing I ever intend somebody to buy. I'm very grateful that multiple people have. It's been super cool for rent. But it was very much a, like, okay, fine. You want a price? Here's a price. Snack Fan Bob, thank you for the Twitch follow, my friend. Welcome to the Dog House. And DMC, thank you for that 100-bit cheer. Oh yeah, boss, since I did Mango Money Moment, can I see where Karazakar falls on the new scale? Am I sinister or big/huge enough to have earned the right to see where that goes on the newest scale? Yeah, I can put you and Axeman both on the Pyramid of Deck Actualization, which is the new... No, wrong one. We're going to move this up so that it's easier for me to find. So let me take all these off. Axe, I would put you... I'm gonna have to, like, rotate you. In my mind, you are definitely on this western slope. Now, the unfortunate part of this axis is it does, like, the better your deck is, it deterministically brings you away from peak. I think it's quite funny. I think it's very rude which gives it a fair degree of Riz. But at the end of the day, it was still a very effective CEDH list. It was a good deck that works and plays Magic. And you made a couple decisions to make it less effective in the name of giving it Riz, which moves you toward peak. But I think this is definitely a Western Slope moment. Also, Fayglow, goddamn, thank you for the 10 gifted Tier 1 subs. Welcome back to Dog Heaven. I appreciate that generosity very much. Also, Hulk and True Whale, thank you for the Twitch follows. Welcome to the Dog House. Oh yeah, Rubots, Arabella's fucked up and good. Arabella's fucked up and strong. And then we have... Also, D-Man, thank you for the 100 biddies. Islor, you must have missed me and Melon having a bidding war that made Mald almost cry. Yeah, that was a crazy day. That was a crazy day. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. Listen, everyone's personal peak is different. And your personal peak can be maybe your internal triangle is not equilateral. Maybe your personal triangle has the peak left shifted, where what is awesome for you, like maybe this is where the peak of your triangle is, and your deck can fit in there. But me, I need you to understand the thing I most wanted to do after I heard about the unbans was put Arenicus's Vile Duplication onto Panoptic Mirror to just make a Niv Mizzet every turn, which is very bad. Very interruptible, but holy shit do I love Niv Mizzets. And then DMC, I think the version I saw was kind of dueling pistols on the Western side. I quite liked it. I think it was less than 10. But I think I took specific issue with like 5 or so cards where I was like, these cards are in here as a bit. I refuse to believe that and not a bit that I like. I think these cards are in here as farting in the hot tub. Yeah, I think it was just the draw pingers. Your name is too long, so we'll say you start pretty close, and then these 5 cards are all that stood between you and Jesus. Yes, Joe Salsa. I was obliquely referencing my into the Mizzyverse Oops All Nivs deck. Hulk, hit me with that personal question. I want to have Panoptic Mirror's children. Exotic, I'm going to really recommend you go outside. We get pretty crazy here. Right? Dog, that is a statue. That's like that's an artifact. We can't. No, we can't. How would you feel if you played against a guy who sported 60 basic lands? I've played against this fuck-ass commander before. Next question. DMZ, thank you for the 100 bits. You'll be happy to hear that all of the draw pingers are gone, so I can profit off of the Karazakar card draw with stuff like the Villas and creature death like Vein Ripper. That's so much better. That's beautiful. I love that. Lemon, I haven't checked out Oblivion Remastered. It does look fire. I just don't have the time right now. Tatuova is bad. It's Omnath. Oh, okay. Phoenix Blaze. Yeah, hit me with a quick question. And again, please, nobody ever feel like I expect you to have $500 to drop on the deck roasting. It jump scares me as much as it does you. What about the music? Oh, it's doubled up. How about now? Okay. No one's dropped a bomb. Agumame, thank you for the rant redeem. Please rant about when win cons like Torment of Hailfire and Gary are the correct choice versus when they're absolutely rizless garbage. Agu, I'm going to answer your question, but not in the way you think. I think Torment of Hailfire, which I'll pull up on screen so that we can have something to reference, but Torment of Hailfire, and then also Gary, the Grey Merchant of Asphodel. These are always lame. I do not care what the narrative arc of your deck is. I do not care how long the Google Doc fanfic you have written for it is. These are always lame. The thing to accept and cherish about them is that a story is not always defined by its ending, unless it is Game of Thrones. It is much better to have an exciting and cool and very active and agency-filled mid-game that terminates in somebody going, okay, I Torment of Hailfire for X equals 30, now we all get to go to Wendy's, versus having a game that starts out really fun and back and forth and then goes on for 4 hours because nobody was willing to put in a win con that they didn't think was the most cinematic thing ever. I was talking about this with Elk during the Unbanned stream yesterday, but if you think of like a war movie or a fantasy action movie, at the end of it all, somebody's just gotta fucking stab somebody else. Just let it happen. It's okay. It's better if you can get one of these like really cinematic win cons, but very few decks can get a win con that is like, oh, this is flavorful and it's fair and everybody's gonna call me their little PogChamp, versus we want the journey to be awesome and the ending can be normal. I think that anybody that complains again about Gary is overly whining. He needs an active board states and super interactive. Oh, very true. I think this card is much worse than people think. I see Gary get put into so many decks where he has like no business being there, where he has like no chance of actually creating like a winning board state. There's a couple decks that are great for him, but a lot of people severely overplayed. Dale, thank you for the $2 super chat on YouTube. Welcome to Dog Heaven, my friend. Wanted your opinion. Best version of Niv Mizzet. The more I play Guild Pact, the more I like Guild Pact. He is fun. He's very reliable. He can little bean pretty well because he has a big reputation as being not that good. So even though I use it for Oops All Niv Mizzets, it's like I've never had a bad game playing with Guild Pact. D-Man, thank you for the 100-bit cheer. Be prepared for 500 Canadian dollars in the summer. Pre-jump scare warning. Appreciate you, bestie. And DMC, thank you for the additional 100 bits. Most people want the big explosive win only if it's their big explosive win, to be fair. I won a game by the skin of my teeth with Dance of Calamity into Jessica's Will in the 1v1, and he did nothing but bitch as if he wasn't doing Big Dragon Super Friends. That's a very important thing to bring up. A lot of people, like, the world would be a lot better if we all understood that the things we find are cool are mostly cool only to us. The only reason I'm funny is because I understand on a deep, intuitive level that everything I care about is lame. And that if I want other people to care about the things I care about, I need to dress it up. I need to jingle keys. I need to trick you. I need to do a fey glamour. And if more people understood that oh, just because I like something doesn't make it intrinsically cool and doesn't make it like intrinsically exciting for everybody else to listen to or hear me talk about. Oh, we would reach utopia in a day. Also, there was somebody else who asked a question earlier that we got caught up in chat, so let me scroll back and find that. Steaming hot take. Thank you for the $2 New Zealand dollars on YouTube. Welcome to Dog Heaven. Patron of the Orochi is the new Seedborn Muse. So true, bestie. I see nothing wrong with this statement. Hold on. Where's this one? It was somebody asking, okay, it was Phoenix Blaze saying, quick question. I found their original message. With my deck, I seem to only ever struggle with getting cards, so I think I need more Rakdos card engines. I've got a few in there like Phyrexian Arena, Theater of Horrors, Virtue of Courage, and some one-off ones, but it never seems to be enough cards. That's probably true. I think if you want to be confident that you are going to play a card draw engine, you probably need to have 10 or more. That's usually the bar. For if I want to be confident that I'm going to see one of these during my commander game, you need 10 or more. A lot of people will get away with running fewer than 10 engines because they will have like 3 to 5 engines, and then they will have like 5 to 10 one-off pieces of card draw. You can also shore that up with tutors, right? A tutor is effectively a copy of whatever card in your deck makes sense at the time. Sometimes that's Phyrexian Arena. But there's a ton of other like bad, quote-unquote, bad, heavy sarcasm, bad engines, like Argul's Bloodfast, which is 2 and 2 to draw a card. There's also Greed, which is more expensive, but is only 1 mana and 2 life to draw a card. So if you have fewer than 10 card draw engines, it probably makes sense that you don't feel like you're seeing many cards, especially if your commander does not draw you cards. You can get away with fewer if your commander is doing the card draw for you, obviously. Yeah, there's also The Last Ride, my personal favorite of the really, really bad card draw engines. Okay, no worries, Starry. Also, DMC, thank you for the extra 100 bits. Last one of these, I swear, but the best part of that Jeska's Will play was that the dragon player had double triggered their ancient silver dragon, allowing Jeska's Will to give me 28 mana. As a dance player, how does dancing with Calamity into that Jeska's Will kind of play make you feel? It hit me with a dopamine flood, but also felt kind of bad. I mean, that's perfect. I think them feeling bad is their fault. Or them making you feel bad is their fault. That should be an absolute dopamine flood. Like the 2 players that had already been knocked out of that game, they should have had to scoop you up boneless from the floor, because that is literally their chickens coming home to roost and biting their dick off. If you draw 28 cards and then I judo flip you with a Jeska's Will that makes me 1,000,000 mana because you drew 28 cards, I deserve that. I deserve a fucking monologue moment there. Phoenix Blaze, as long as he's not crude, he won't die. It'll be a non-creature artifact. It'll have a very negative stat line, but that negative stat line won't matter until until it's a creature. Also, Phoenix, thank you for the 3 months in a row with Prime, my friend. I appreciate those Jeffrey dollars. Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is, like, most people, Dog Sauce, where actually DMC's deck is a Karazakar deck. So that is what we're talking about. But a lot of people in Gen Pop, like, don't have decks that work, and they assume that if your deck works, it's because you're using unfair cards, and so they will just look at, like, whatever the best card you have is and go, that's the reason your deck is good. Not any of the other stuff. Not that you had a reasonable curve and could, like, play something every turn. Not because you had enough card draw to continue having the resources to compete. It's just, hey, this one card, you resolved this one spell a turn before you won, and that broken, bad. Chexmax, I appreciate your kind words about the last ride. This card is phenomenally bad. And I just love it. This is like straight up bracket 1 appropriate card draw. This is like, oh, my deck is all sick fucking cars, and I need a way to draw cards in a deck that is only sick fucking cars. It's 3 mana and 2 life just to draw 1 card is so painful. It's for a bracket 1 Don Toretto EDH deck. Yeah. Personal question: what deck / commander / archetype would you recommend to your local tank player? Plays tanks in D&D, MMOs, FPS's, League. They enjoy soaking damage for their allies. I'm going to go with... Okay, so there's 2 roads in the yellow wood that we can walk down. Which is, if you enjoy soaking damage for your allies, there's 2 ways to interpret it. The first we can do kind of directly, which is you can do an enrage deck. And that would probably be like Naya Weta, which is, my stuff takes damage, now I'm going to get value. There's a ton of enrage triggers that range from I get to draw cards, I get to ramp, I get to deal damage to your shit. The other direction you can take it is, if you like playing tanks, that usually means you like to dictate, like, the pace of things. You like to kind of have your hands on the reins of the direction the fight is going. And as Vathi is saying, the other direction to go is control, to go like Esper, and then be like, I'm the adult, you all are getting a little bit too worked up right now. How about we calm down? Aren't you on record saying this should replace Soul Ring anywhere it can for Last Ride? I mean, yes, Last Ride is bad, Soul Ring's worse. Listen. The Last Ride is only going to have a negative impact on your commander game. Soul Ring is going to have a negative impact on your soul. You're going to hell. Dark, I don't know. Eventually. I don't know. Also, we had Phoenix Blaze say, I just turned 20. Is there any birthday discount? Listen, Phoenix. I don't normally do this. But this one time for your birthday, I will give you a special discount on the on-demand roast. So just for you, and I want you to remember I've done this for you, you can get a one-time live, I'll drop everything and look at your deck list, on-demand Mauled Roast for the discounted price of $499.99. Eat my entire ass, you broke bitch. 505 would have also been good. Yeah, plus tax, by the way. Happy fucking birthday. Personal question, Redeem. Do you consider cards like Wound Reflection and Archfiend of Despair and Havoc Festival to be pissing in the hot tub if you're playing Rakdos, for example? Very much no. What I consider pissing in the hot tub is when you play control pieces that are not driving the game to a conclusion. Or if you drive the game towards a conclusion with no intent to actually win yourself. Damage doublers, which if you're not familiar with all three of these cards, I'm not going to pull up all of them. They generally double the amount of life you've lost in a turn. These are usually good. The worst thing I would say about them is that they're like win more. Like they're usually best when you're already winning, and most decks would benefit more from having more stuff to make sure that they can get into a winning position in the first place. But if you were in a winning position and you drop a doubler and that makes it so that you win the game, that's not pissing in the hot tub. That's just you talking your shit. They might not like to hear it, but that's because they have not pulled themselves up by their bootstraps like all fair and honest Rakdos decks. What's pissing in the hot tub is when you are preventing the game from moving forward for purposes other than trying to win it yourself. Is when you're just kind of like wasting everyone's time, or if you're like board wiping over and over and you don't have a good way to break parity on that board wipe, or if you're doing like mass land control and that doesn't convert into you winning, that's pissing in the hot tub. Like if you go, my deck is 50 counter spells, and I go, why? And you go, I like counterspelling things. And I go, okay, so your commander is gonna like win you the game because you've counterspelled stuff, right? And you go, no, that's pissing in the hot tub. Personal question, Redeem. Favorite and least favorite fast food sandwich shops. Least favorite Subway. Most favorite Firehouse. Axeman Bat, thank you for the 100-bit cheer, my friend. And DMC, thank you for the additional 100 bits. Also, boss, what do I get if I tip $420.69? I feel like I should get something. Or if I do 694.20, can I get a roast with Z appreciation after roast care? Yes, if we do 69,420, so $694.20, I will go get Z. I will go grab, I will not warn them ahead of time. I will grab them, whatever they are doing, and I'll be like, we're roasting a deck now. For 420.69, I'll think of something. Currently, nothing. Jester the Clown, thank you for the 45-bit cheer. Hey, Malt. I want to thank you for your content and such. Because of your streams and 330's videos, I've been able to build decks that I find fun. Was curious what your stance on having a separate ban list for CEDH that rotated what cards could be banned for a few months or something that don't rotate with sets, but rather with meta. I've had people say this idea is cool and others who think it's stinky dog. I think it's cool. I think... I don't want to throw too much shade at organizers because they're operating under the onus of WotC rather than just like being lame themselves. But I think the world would be a lot better if we got like, if the CEDH community sort of like, or the tournament community stepped up with their own ban list. I think that they have, which again is like, some people think this is stinky poo-poo because you don't want to fracture the community. But the CEDH meta has a ton of problems, a lot of which are caused by banning around casual commander, because casual commander is the focus and not CEDH. And so whether it was just like there was one tournament that was like, this is all flubs. If we had more tournaments that were doing that, where the organizers were putting up the prize money of like, this is $50,000 for a CEDH tournament where nobody can run Rhystic Study. Utopia. I wish we would get that. I wish we would get more stuff like that, but I understand why it's difficult to do. Terrence 93, thank you for the Prime sub for the 4th month in a row, my friend. Am I going to prison for putting Settle the Wreckage in the Zergo Stormrender precon so I can draw 15 and get 15 basics? I mean, you're going to prison, but you're going to prison like if you assassinated Trump. You're going in there a hero. Personal question, Redeem. Is Hermit Druid firmly in bracket 4 jail? Under what charges? Is his lawyer present at his hearing? I don't think it's bracket 4 jail. If Hermit Druid isn't already a game changer, he probably should be. Like, it's so fucking good. No, Guild Pact. I think if I name the stream that, I will get insta-banned by Twitch. But yeah, like every... Hermit Druid is probably one of the cards that was like most able to be played fairly, but probably would end up... Like, I've never seen it get played fairly. Oh yeah, we have a very ancient custom card to redeem from Zoria. Let me go grab that. All right, we have Paracelsus, Plague Doctor, and Junia the Vestal. 3-mana Golgari 1/3 with Wither. Think that makes sense. At the beginning of your end step, choose any number of creatures with -1/-1 counters on them. Put a -1/-1 counter on each of them. The hot tub is very unhealthy after this. I think other things in the Stagecoach section could save it. Let's see what the Vestal's doing. 3-mana 1/2 Selesnya Lifelinker. Whenever you would gain 1 or more life for the first time each turn, you may instead put that many 1/1 counters on target creature. I like this. I like this more than because I gained life, I also get to get counters, which means I also get to get cards, which might mean I also get to gain life. I like that you have to make a choice about it. The thing I don't like about the Plague Doctor... I like the Plague Doctor design. I would never trust Gen Pop with it. Like, anybody I saw running Plague Doctor, I would be like, you probably don't have a way to convert this into advantage. You are just going to be on, like, oops, all board wipes. Or, like, oops, nobody has creatures. Axeman Bat, thank you for the 200-bit cheer, my friend. Appreciate that contribution to the dog pile. I meant to send this with the bits last time, but genuine question, can you explain why the average player doesn't like stacks? It's very simple. The average player is not playing good enough Magic to deserve stacks. Like, the average player, every bracket 2 deck and most bracket 3 decks, the restrictions you are imposing at the time of Rule 0 are already stacks. They already are. There's already a silent 5th stacks player, like the invisible hand of the free market, preventing you from going infinite too early, preventing you from running too much fast mana. And so people will get really worked up when you put stacks on top of that because we've already pulled the brakes. Like, I love stacks, and I am a firm believer 85% of Commander games should not have stacks in them. Like, the bottom 85% of power just shouldn't be running stacks because there's no point. We put it in already. You can maybe run like 1 or 2 specific stacks pieces, but for the most part, if you're like, oh, this is a stacks deck, my answer is usually, why? Fucking huh? Now, in like bracket 4 and above, it's because people just want to jerk off. People just want to do their thing, and their thing is cool, and you should like it because they're very based and popular, and you're a cringe little nerd who should be begging at the altar of their fucking uber cool dragon strategy, and you're interrupting that. And so that's why they get mad at high power. But at low power, it's just like, what is this for, dog? And like a lot of players have had their experience with stacks poisoned by playing against people that run no win con stacks. There's a ton of people who their first time playing a stack, they just fucking forget that sometimes you're supposed to try to win the Magic game, and they put as many control pieces as possible into their stack, and then they just make like a 4-hour snooze fest. And that's not your fault, but everybody remembers it. Axeman, thank you for the additional 100. That seems unfun. Stacks allows for games to go to a unique and interesting game state instead of running the same direction every time with a demonic consult Thassa. Or is it because your decks are bad enough that the game's variance is high anyway? It's the second one. And that's why I'm saying the bottom 85% doesn't need it. Axe, I don't think you have ever stepped outside the top 15%. Like, I think that is a sort of generational shift for you to understand. I have never seen, or I have once in my life seen a Thassa's consult put onto the stack in a game of Magic I was playing in. And it was me doing it because I was in a CEDH game. I have never in my life chosen to participate at a table where I thought there was a chance of demonic consult Thassa's Oracle occurring, if it was a like for fun game. And so that's the perspective I'm coming from. At the games I'm playing in, the variance is up there because the decks are bad. And when you're playing against bad decks, it's like, yeah. Which is why I love stacks in high power. As soon as we're like, yes, demonic consultation, Thoracle is something that can happen, then I love stacks. Then it's, oh. For exactly the reason you're talking about. We can make wild shit happen when we like put some fucking controls on the game. When we have an adult making some goddamn rules. But if the, yeah, bad tables, ugh. Ugh. Also, DMC, thank you for the 100 bits. The Plague Doctor should cost 2 more and should have the skeleton chip ability. I can kind of see that. Let it tap to put the -1/-1 counters out. Axe, thank you for the extra 100. We should play a game of CDH together and you play stacks someday. FR. Listen, it's very possible. I don't know if I would play stacks in today's meta. Like, I was a stacks player when, like, Crypt Dockside Lotus was legal. And so I was like, oh, we really need motherfuckers to calm down. Arguably, Thoracle isn't great for CEDH either. I mean, you could make that argument. I'm not sure it survives contact with a middle school debate classroom. Okay, great from a health standpoint. I agree with that. I agree with that for, like, Thoracle has a negative effect on the metagame of CEDH anyway. Maul, do you prioritize theme or gameplay? I generally lean towards theme, but peak in my mind is both. We want a good theme that we are bringing up to effectiveness by having good gameplay. That is true. We do need to stop vamping. I have to re-hit a manual ad break, and I have to get some Advil because my neck is fucking killing me. And then we're gonna launch in to Troper's deck. Okay. Last thing we're going to answer before we hit Troper's roast is Furious Oatmeal's rant redeem on, I've heard you mention win more cards before. How do you tell the difference between them and cards that are good for your game plan? I think we can do a pyramid for this. I think a pyramid is going to make the most sense. Hierarchy, maybe? No. No, we'll just do a pyramid. No, it's gonna be too narrow at the top. We'll just do ranks for it. So the thing you need to think about, for, is my card win more or is my card just good for my strategy, is how much does the card do by itself? So the first level of just good card is, does something the moment it resolves with nothing else in play. From here, all you have to do is judge what is the quality of the thing that it does. There are some things, like, I'm trying to think of a 2 mana instant speed token producer. Oh yeah, or we could go the other direction and do just a good card. So the moment I resolve Archon of Cruelty, I get a card, I gain life, I have a powerful flying creature, my opponent also loses a creature, loses a card, and loses life. That's quite impactful. It's less impactful in Commander than it is in 60 card. However, does something, if I play it, if I just have lands, mana rocks, and I play this guy, good thing happens for me. The next level is, does this do something as long as I have my commander in play? Because your commander is basically always in your hand. Your commander is basically always in your hand because it's off in the command zone doing special stuff. So if your card needs your commander to be in play to do something, that is mildly win more, but tolerable. Because most commander games, you can be confident that you're going to have your commander. The next level is, does this do something as long is, does this do something good if I have resolved something that is not my commander? This is where you have to judge. Typically need high density of whatever the non-commander effect is. So this is like if you have, let's say you have SRAM in your deck. SRAM's not your commander. You're running like a Boros Voltron deck. And so SRAM is in the deck. This guy is a blocker, which is something, but does nothing other than be a blocker when we play him. So he doesn't really do a lot by himself. If our commander is a creature who does not cast us or equipments or vehicles, also doesn't do anything with our commander. However, if we have a high density, I'm talking like 25 to 30 or more auras, equipments, or vehicles, we can still at least feel like, I'm definitely going to cast auras, equipments, and vehicles after I play this guy. He will still be useful. This tier is where you get a lot of things that are like Enduring Innocence in token decks. Sometimes Enduring Innocence will work with just your commander as well. But like Idol of Oblivion, you get a lot of card draw engines that kind of don't do it by themselves. They don't do it with your commander, but they do draw you a card based on a like high concentration effect that you have in the deck list. The next layer, where things start getting really bad, does something only if played alongside an effect I have, we'll say, less than 10 instances of in my deck. This is like combos where I not even combos, but like does something I need to put the little asterisk on. Does something that does not instantly win the game, and only does that thing if I play it alongside a different card that I have very few versions of. So this is stuff like if you have Doubling Season and your commander doesn't make tokens and you only have like 5 token generators in the deck, that's where like, holy shit, Doubling Season is so bad. If you have like Doubling Season in a deck where you have 25 or more token makers, it becomes like acceptable. And then the worst version is like, this is a specific 3-card combo that does not win the game. So these are what I would call the layers of it. It gets a little different when it comes to evaluating like, well, how close do they bring me to winning the game? Yes, Agamame, tutors always count towards a density of effects because tutors are whatever you want. Elegman, not like your alternate win cons, because again, specifically, it's stuff that does not win. If you have a 3-card combo that wins the game, we then can evaluate it alongside different metrics, but win more is kind of definitionally, this is not winning me the game. All right. Um, and yeah, Mistora, these are in the context of the deck, not just like a commander itself. Okay, without further ado, we're going to do one more random smasher pass. That's a land. Smash. Little butt, but that's okay. We accept that. Yes, Ozone it is. We have custom stream music that just kind of sits lightly in the background for us. For anybody that has not been to a deck roasting stream before, my supporters send me a deck list, a primer, and a power rating. However, we do not accept 1 through 10. It's wrong and bad. What we do accept is silly, spooky to scary, a measure of how ominous your deck's turns are to somebody that knows Magic the Gathering and is paying attention to them. This was originally developed by my friend Danny Phantom EXE, but the most important metric is your primer. This is a paragraph describing how you think the deck plays or how you want the deck to play if it's a work in progress. I will help you on your journey to being a villain, but I need you to admit that you are one. So first today, we're looking at a silly deck from our good friend Troper. In one word, the deck is non-boring. In the primer, this was originally created a month ago before I gave up my spot to Shoulda. Hey boss, hey chat, it's 9:30 p.m. as I write this and I currently have a 100-degree fever. This deck's been done for months. Chicago was dope as hell, even if the pile of cardboard and proxies Maul beat me with has shaken my faith in my ability to deck build. God bless James for V2, God bless Lalo for V1, and God curse my brain for the idea in the first place of ethical planeswalkers. Anyway, rats, we are the rats. I was tasked with a job so simple that even my self-sabotaging deck-building brain couldn't possibly mess it up. Make a deck for a roommate with Wick the World Mind at the helm. Unrelatedly, you ever heard of Dracula Flow? Tags and primer, etc. I was listening to Dracula Flow before the stream, actually. Also, Axe, thank you for the 100 bits. We could do a Venn diagram for that. And then DMC, thank you for the 100 bits. Without further ado, proceeds with more ado. That's, hey. Much Ado About Nothing could be the title of every stream from now until the moment I died. Okay, birthday bash. This shit ain't nothing to me, man. Okay, so it's all Dracula Flow stuff. You can't trust me, I don't even trust myself. This is our targeted removal. Flipped a brick into an empire, rat buffs. Ops wanted some initiative. I pulled something out of a booster. This is gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt. I pulled Bloodletter of Aclazotz from a Commander Collector booster and had a Hitagetsu. Oh god, it's the 2-card kill everybody. Okay, great. Sick as fuck. Sick as fuck. My money long, my pockets deep as the card draw. I got to where I am today through violence, combat tricks, and blink. Real premium French scatatouille. Additional rats and rat accessories. Beautiful. So we have Wick, which is whenever Wick or a rat ETBs, make a 1/1 snail. If you already control a snail, make snail bigger. For 3 mana and sacrificing a snail, we can pop somebody, or we can pop everybody, and then draw cards equal to what we sacked. Does have a lot of potential. So how many rats are we making? We're getting Mad Ratter. Machias, so we can double dip on rats if we can sack them. Okay, we have some good repeatable engines, and then we have a fair amount of draft chaff. I love that. That's real type shit of you, Troper. Alright, we have 1 damage board wipe, but taking care of blockers, that might do something one day. Ratatouille does a bank heist, I guess. So I don't mind this card. I don't mind this card in a broad sense. I love theft. I love taking things. What is bro doing here? Do we have any hope of stealing a rat from somebody else? Dog. I can smell the booster box on this shit. There is no way we need phantom interference in this. Okay, presumed dead. Shifting Grift is funny. Truly ridiculous. Truly ridiculous. No, no fucking point. Truly. I got to where I am today through violence is exactly as all over the place as Dracula Flow is, and so I will accept it as theming, but you definitely... Are you sure that fever was only 100? My money long, my pockets deep. Distant Melody. God, wouldn't... How many rats we got in this deck? Oh, we got 19. Okay. So Distant Melody is fine. Frantic Surge, generally good. 4 mana, draw 2 in Grixis. Dog, they're gonna take your card away. I mean, it's like, it's not the worst combat trick ever. Outlaw's Fury. We tagged this card draw because we get to exile the top of our... I love you, buddy. I love you, buddy. Okay, so Splash Portal I agree with. We want to be blinking our rats, and we're probably going to get this to draw a card. This is a situation where, hey, you have taken Draft Chaff and it's playable in this deck. Protection Racket is just a generally good card. I think Stinging Study is fine with 4 mana. 5 mana draw 4 is like, sure. My ops meet right off the bone. I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to tell you, man. Voodoo, here you go. Pass. Are you happy now? I would not fuck the Eldrazi spider. Okay. Ops wanted some initiative. So now we've told Troper a million times you have to be willing to play good cards, and so Troper put a 2-card win the game button in a deck that was otherwise straight out of the Wendy's dumpster. 80 of these cards came from a Bloomborough OTJ pre-release trash can. Axeman Bat, thank you for the 100-bit cheer. Calling Splash Portal Draft Chaff is crazy. That card is playable. Shut up, man. Get the fuck out of here. Okay. Real premium French Scatatouille. So Haunting Voyage, good. We have a lot of rats, right? We're down with rats. Revenge of the Rats seems not worthless, as like the thing you are most concerned about is getting board wiped. I would feel better about this in a mill deck than I do about just like I play rats and then if they get blown up we do this, but it's not that bad. Nope. Hey goat. Let's talk. We get a rat, right? I want everyone to be clear. I've read the card. We do get a rat. But you are paying just 1 mana for a 1/1 token. It says rat. Hey. Don't listen. ChatGPT, they would love this inclusion. You ask ChatGPT about this deck, it would in fact tell you, hey, a lot of these cards say rat on them. Psychic Whirl. Heinous dog shit. Don't spend mana attacking your opponent's ideas. Spend mana attacking what your opponent has actually done. Rise of the Dark Realms. I see obligatory good card has snuck its way in. They must have amnesia. They forgot I'm him. Alright, you're going to name yourself the op for no real meaningful benefit. Good. Very Troper of you. Now, most of these are going to be acceptable just because they say rat. Like, most of these fall into level 2 of Win More Hell. It does something if I have my commander. And the thing it does if I have my commander is it grows me a body that I can turn into card draw. That's good enough that we can generally be like, okay, even if I'm doing a low power Wick deck, any creature that says rat is basically acceptable. For even ninjutsu, I will look favorably upon because, hey, we can bounce a rat back to hand and we can reuse some ETBs. We can reuse some ETBs if we make the rats unblockable. Pack rats, totally fine. You did this to make me mad. I think one copy of Rat Colonies, also fine. I think this is a deck that benefits more from synergy pieces than it does from, like, as many rats as possible. Sure, rotting rats. Now, okay, listen. So here's where we have to actually consider the smell. Islor, thank you for the 100 bitch. Flat out kills Esper Sentinel though. Gas? So true. Welcome to the dog pile. You do raise a good point. Kills Esper Sentinel, kills Llanowar Elves, therefore CEDH playable. And Axeman Bat, thank you for the 100 bits. Troper, I don't get it. You don't have Opposition Agent or Bowmasters. I'm not kidding. This isn't a bit. This is a sincere and deeply held belief. Thank you, Axe. Okay, so then we have Ren the Relentless, who... How are you killing other people's stuff? One way. 2 ways. 3 ways. 4 ways. So many counter spells, dog. 5 ways. So many counter spells. So many fucking counter spells for a card that says if you kill a bitch, get a rat. Lynn Soso, thank you for the tier 1 Twitch sub, my friend. Welcome to the dog home. Okay. As it is now, this deck is equal parts Fever Dream and built out of my collection. Neither of which are qualities I want to see when I'm sitting down with a commander deck. There are a few things in here that do have promise. There are a few interactions that are actually like, yeah, we can get something going with them. For the most part, though, this is like... God, this is what like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Video game tutorial boss would have. Like, they would play a card and you would be like, oh my god, I'm about to get comboed on. And then they would play a different card and be like, oh, it's just a random assortment from this pack that's in the microtransaction shop that they're trying to convince me to buy before I play the rest of the video game. So having counter spells is not unreasonable, particularly in a particularly in a deck archetype that's going to struggle the most against somebody that does have board wipes. But there's just a lot of stuff in here that's not talking to each other. So considering his dog, you sent 2 decks? Wait. 70, so it's like 85 considering, and then I saw the 77 rat colonies. So Kindred Discovery is of course going to be useful for you, because Kindred Discovery is just a tremendous card if you have a shitload of any one creature type. Valley Rock Caller. Okay. You have once again happened upon a very good card. A kind of a perfect card for people that are trying to do Kindred stuff. Because people that make Kindred decks often make the terrible, terrible error of being like, everything has to be one creature type, when you kind of want it to be mostly one creature type, and then you want it to be really good hype men. Valley Rock Caller is one of the best fucking hype men for any of the Bloomburrow creature types. So yes, this has to go in. Chiromonix is probably fine. What I'm kind of thinking of is you could go Rat Flicker. Or if you want to call it the Rat Trampoline, that would also be very, very plausible for you. But that would be stuff like Thassa Deep Dwelling. We are honestly like kicking ourselves in the ass a little tiny bit by not having white for this. But nope, okay, we immediately went to rats bouncing on it, and Eris Time, I need you to be different. I need you to be so different if we're gonna have the rats bounce on it. So if we want to consider like what are our build around rats, it doesn't look to me like we are that good at going to combat. I will give you a goldfish to stress test this theory. I will crack. Oh, look, an island was there. Beautiful. It is turn 5. We have a collective 5 power and a collective 6 toughness. This is not the most compelling board state I have ever seen. If you want to be doing aggro, and the aggro is going to be the pieces that are supported by your things that give your entire board +2/+0, by your stuff that makes things unable to block, we got to reconfigure the deck around low to the ground aggro. Rats are going to chip in for damage. Wick can support that strategy because you can use Wick to refill your hand after you just like vomit it all onto the field to swing at people. Me being me, I prefer rats bouncing on it. And if we're going to do rats bouncing on it, then the heroes of the deck become any rat that says, when this enters the battlefield, do something. So the rats we have that do that are, let's see, Lord Skitter's Butcher, Lord Skitter's Sewer King, but the effect isn't that good. Nezumi Prowler, but also not that good. Refurbished Familiar, Rotting Rats, Voracious Vermin, and Wick's Patrol. Now the important thing to keep a handle on is these ETB effects very bad at winning the game. They do something as long as they have your commander in play, but all they do if you have your commander in play is they like slowly tick up this slug damage, and so we will kind of by necessity have to make the deck higher power if we want to make the rats bounce on it, because a lot of the rat specific ETBs we can take advantage of are going to be like hand rip, which is people are going to be mad if you do that. is all I'm going to say. So rat, we'll do Grixis. So other rats that we can get ETB stuff with, we could do mill, we could do re-ratimate if we want to have a little bit more of like reanimation pieces in here. There's burglar rat to force even more discard. Chittering rats is so fucking dumb and rude. There's more discard. There's more discard. There's some poison. And there's Surveil 2, which Surveilling 2 is... There's an Izumi Informant. Alright, so unfortunately, Rat's bounce on it is looking a lot like a pissing in the hot tub strategy. Like, if we have the Rat's bounce on it, and we are wildly successful... The most we're going to get done is we're going to have stolen everybody else's resources. So what I would recommend you do is if we want to have the rats bounce on it, I think we move away from this being like a truly kindred deck and we move more towards this is Grixis ETBs and the rats are in here as the control pieces. We would go towards Impact Tremor style stuff, DMC, but I think this would become like... Alright, thank you, Rose. I will let you know. But I think this would become kind of like a... Archon of Cruelty-esque deck. Where we would want to have other stuff that when it entered, did something really good for us. We could also do... I don't know if like the red... ephemeral clones would be particularly good here because all the rats really suck. We already pulled up Hellhole rats, but it's like the same thing of most of what we get done is we steal resources from somebody else, but we're not actually like that good at winning the game. And so if we're doing resource theft, then that's really only appropriate for high power tables. I think that kind of solves it for you, Troper. If you want this to be a lower power deck, then what you want to do is do aggro. And we want to have a fair amount of ramp because we want Wick to be on the battlefield. We want Wick to be on the battlefield before we're playing too many of the rats. But then it just becomes like Wick is only here to draw us cards after we lose rats to bad blocks. And so then that becomes like... Alright, the type line is rat. We're looking for like attack triggers for these rats. Yeah, rat grenades. So this would be more of a like Ashcoat strategy. Ashcoat would be in here as kind of like Lieutenant General. You would play more into things like Azure Beastbinder, where you try to be unblockable, you try to turn stuff into 2/2s. Let me look for combat damage. Then you get Ink Eyes. I think you also get Nashi. I really love this guy. And I do think ninjutsu triggers legitimately clever here. Ninjutsu triggers are legitimately clever as a way to double dip on rat ETBs without having to go heavy into blink. Throat Slitter would be a totally acceptable version of control for this. It would allow you to have a like permanent based removal option. Shoreline Looter would be fine, would eventually become draw for you. And so the important stuff, yeah, DMC, we'll get there. The important stuff that you're going to want to add for a strategy like this is you want stuff that is either going to be a banner or give you unblockability or give you additional combat damage triggers. So this is where you can start thinking of things like reconnaissance mission, where, okay, I'm dealing damage to people, so I get to draw cards. This is also where you want to care about, like, if this wasn't already in the deck, Patchwork Banner, give all our rats +1/+1. As DMC mentioned, there's stuff like Shared Animosity. I'm not massive on +1/+0. I think Shared Animosity is so good that we put it in anyway. But broadly, we talked about this with another deck where an important breakpoint is you got to get to 3/3s as quickly as possible. And then we got to get to like 5/5s as quickly as possible. I think Raid Bombardment is a fuck-ass trap. I think this is a fuck-ass trap for people who lose Magic games, quite frankly. No, we don't want the rats to... We don't want to do Arista-Rats. We're going to have, like, a little bit of Aristocrat synergy. It's more we are okay with them dying because we will replace them with Wix effect. We do not desire for the rats to die. We desire for the rats to overrun you. There's one specific... This is, I promise you, the worst card I'm going to suggest all day. But let me find it. Oh, shut up. It's black. I clicked black. I'm going to keep it exactly a stack with you. No, Homura's great, and Homura's going in here because it's a good fucking card. Death Pit Offering... I think this will probably satisfy Troper's implicit urge to smuggle the C4 inside their own ass cheeks by board wiping yourself. But big board buffs like Death Pit Offering, and then the better version of this is just going to be like Homura, where it's a 4/4, but once we put it into a graveyard and we flip it, we can get everything gets +2/+2 in flying. Like we want anything that is going to make our rats able to swing reliably without being super afraid. Raid Bombardment doesn't give us that. Shared Animosity kind of gives us that through mutually assured destruction. Like if you have Shared Animosity, it might not defend the rats, but people are like, I don't want to lose my commander to a 5/1 2-mana piece of draft chaff. So let's look at Ogre Chitterlord and Ogre Slumlord. I think this is okay, yeah. I'm very low. I'm very low on non-toughness boosting. Alec, let me scroll back to... Chittering Witch. This is on the line, but I'll accept it. Yeah, this is okay. Gives us interaction on a body. We certainly don't mind having a sack outlet. Red Cap. God damn it. Red Cap Gutter Dweller. This is fine. This is, again, more in the, like, rats bounce on it strategy. Song of Totentance, for sure. And then we have this already. So the Slumlord does give us, like, the Slumlord is usable because Death Touch is good. A very important thing I want you to consider is how badly we do not want to just lose the game to Brotherhood's End. I think we're okay. I think we're okay if Blasphemous Act can ruin our day, because Blasphemous Act can ruin everyone's day. Death Touch is a very good keyword to be applying to your creatures. However, we don't want to be the one person, we do not want to be the one person at the table who can get killed by Toxic Deluge for 2. Or by like a low mana Meat Hook Massacre. And so where we can, I don't think we want to go all in on like, we're going to make our power really, really big, and it doesn't matter if we have a long back instead of a juicy ass, because nobody's going to want to block us. That may be true, but us getting blocked is not the only situation that leads to us having a non-game where we just fucking die immediately. There's Door of Destinies, that's fine. Or that's like a very, generic win more type of Kindred banner, but certainly can function. And so that's why I really value things like Death Pit Offering, things like Homura, Human Ascendant. Like every time I have flipped this guy in Henzi, and I've just given everything +2/+2 and flying, it has either won me the game or brought me into a 1v1 with a combo player who then just happens to draw the out. It's +2/+2 and flying is abysmally strong. It is fucked up and good. It is, yeah, it's so fucking wildly powerful. And so I value that much more than I value instant speed, things that are like, okay, what if I like threw my entire board away? Which even throwing your entire board away kind of works. I just don't think it works as well as being like, again, Slumlord's fine, but going like, okay, we have Death Touch, we have +2/+2, we have a different instance of stacking +2/+2. I mean, I get Obelisk of Erd up in here as well. Larry, Eldrazi Monument would very specifically not be the same thing because we have to give up a creature every time. Like, we are not, the current version of this deck, we are not lousy with tokens. We have a decent number of rats, but we do not have infinite rats by any means. And so our board is very, very quickly going to disappear for us, which is why I called this the worst card that I was going to suggest. Because like we're not like, there are some rat decks that are just like, I play 1,000,000 rats and they eat you, and I'm gonna have 1,000,000 rats every goddamn turn. This deck ain't that. I don't think we have Maronar yet, but we probably should. Yeah, Maronar is definitely a must-have. I would consider this one. I think this one might be a little bit too far down the win more chain for you, but this is like, if you get a good rat board, or if you get a good snail, or consider if you sacrifice a big snail to Wick's ability, this gains you all that life back. This is another like all-star of my Henzi list where, yeah, we could either rip back, we could get some good recursion, but most importantly, it can convert a lot of our like early aggro stuff into life to buy us time to win the game later. Does support the rat bouncing on it plan, yeah. You gain life off the exploding snail grenade anyway. Sacrifice a snail. Wick deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to each opponent, then draw cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power. Mods, can we PBS this motherfucker? DMC, thank you for the 100-bit cheer. Admittedly, these are pet rat cards of mine, but can we do Gnat and Locust Miser? I think this is a mistake. I think this is pissing in the hot tub behavior, because what you want to happen, we do not have enough rats to overrun everybody. We have enough rats to chip down sort of one player at a time, and to navigate this politically, to handle the ratatouille political situation going on. We don't want the whole table to be like, fuck, I'm kind of annoyed, all because of Michael. What if we killed Michael right now? Which is what Locust Miser incentivizes people to do. Because setting their hand size to 5 doesn't really stop them from doing anything. It's not low enough to prevent them from winning. It's not low enough to prevent them from board wiping you. And it's going to motivate everybody that you're not already attacking to start attacking you. Yeah, the effect to salt ratio on this card is absolutely fucking bonkers, and you should not play it. If we want to do the rats bounce on it high power control strategy, then yeah, like do this, run hand rip, and just keep everybody hellbent the entire game. Who gives a fuck? This card is lost, but I do love it, so I'm gonna let you keep it. I think Mad Ratter is insane unless you fuck this deck up with all of the black draw engines we talked about previously. So if you do Phyrexian Arena, if you use Greed, if you use Arguel's Bloodfast, if you have like Dockside Chef and you bake your rats into pies, I want to see way more, because this is a good token generator. This is a good way to get a wide board and get a big snail to draw even more cards. But right now, dog, you're tagging Exile 1 off the top as your card draw. Wick's activated ability does trigger it each time. We don't always want to dump the snail every single turn. Like we don't necessarily want every turn to be, okay, I tap 3 to deal 2 damage to draw 2. Like sometimes we want to get a big rat. Sometimes we want to build up a bomb so that we can have mutually assured destruction. And so, yeah, we can also do black market connections. But what I really want to see is stuff where I can decide if I draw an extra card or not. Whether that's by sacrificing, whether that's by paying life. Boss, please see my vision. Motherfucker. You gotta get your eyes checked. You gotta get your fucking eyes checked. No, I'm aware that you named Snail. So the reason I don't believe in this is because this is 3 mana to sacrifice. I think the sentence, all of my rats are secretly snail grenades is a very funny sentence, and I think it translates horrifically badly to actually playing Magic the Gathering. This is an Uber for dogs situation. Tremendous sentence, horrible execution. Like, making them all grenades is great. We don't have any rats that are going to get that big, so they're not particularly good grenades. If we could get it for free, this would be fucked up. If we could get it for 1 mana, this would be fucked up. At 3 mana of all different pips, this is just like, you're like a disgruntled Petco employee chucking mice at people. You don't think maximizing the damage and draw off the snail is a valid way to build Wick? That is like the most insane misinterpretation of the shit I just said. I don't think turning all your rats into also snails is a good way to do it. Maximizing the damage and draw, that's a totally fine way to do it, and is a totally fucking different thing than what I was talking about. We could put the +1/+1 counters on our rats, though. Doesn't matter. What? But we could also, for the purposes of grenades, we can also just put it on the snail and grenade the snail. Okay, so Troper, we own 3 copies of Relentless Rats in the house. Do they go in? I truly don't think so. I truly don't think it's necessary. The Relentless Rats version... No, DMC, you are wrong. You are wrong all over. The version of this deck that wants to run Arcane Adaptation is the version of the deck where every rat is Relentless Rats. That is where this works. Where your secret commander is Arcane Adaptation, you have a pile of Relentless Rats, and you have a pile of tutors, and then you make the Relentless Rats massive, and then you use them as grenades. These work as grenades. But like, if we're on just low to the ground, like aggro value, absolutely the fuck not. But if we're on 30 copies of Relentless Rats, 1 copy of Arcane Adaptation, and then like 20 different tutors and deck churn, then I see that vision. But I think otherwise we're working with funny sentence, terrible actual play. Does Pyre of Heroes make the cut? No. I don't know how to get this across to you people who have been hurt over and over again by rat decks that were just aristocrat decks. We don't want to sacrifice the rats. We want the rats to live. We will bury them in Valhalla if they do die. Stop trying to kill the rats. Yeah, I've been sitting on this one the whole time. Conspiracy is fucked up, and no, not conspiracy. This is not the one that gives fear unblockable. Shut up, MLP. Isn't funny sentence terrible actual plan all casual decks? Ginger, they're all the ones that I need to fix. Put this in yesterday. Put this in yesterday. This is another type of effect that will let you just keep getting in for damage, and as your rats get bigger, it just gets more. Yeah, Makichi, it's almost like it's an effect so good that we might want a second copy. It is an effect so good and so strong. All right, DMC, you're in timeout now. You gotta go. DMC, go take a cold shower. You keep suggesting piping hot jank. But yeah, I think there is another third bizarro version of this deck where you are on Arcane Adaptation, and if you are on Arcane Adaptation, it is because you are on 1,000,000 copies of Relentless Rats, and then you have 10/10 rat grenades. That's sick. If we're not doing the Relentless Rats and we want to actually like approach interesting with our rat tech, we can't be doing that. And then 35 lands is like a little low, but the rat curve is probably, yeah, the rat curve's not high. So I don't think I hate 35, but I do want to see way more repeatable card draw, especially to play around Mad Ratter, because I think Mad Ratter is actually like very hot for you. Oh my god, we can play cat and mouse. MLP, yes, we can play cat and mouse. So I like this thing a lot. It allows you to hold up the threat of a combat trick, and then you flash it in, draw a ton of cards. And then I would do more... So for your interaction... God, we're running murder. That's so sweet of you. That's so sweet of you. Yeah, changelings in general can go pretty hard with Wick. Changelings in general go pretty hard with any commander who cares about the creature type of anything else. This is a deck where I would recommend that you eventually have some Plague Winds. Whether you want to run more mana rocks to support that or not. But like Plague Wind, Ingaruk's Wake, because kind of no matter how much we build up the rat army, eventually we're going to get to the point where other people are playing creatures that are just much better than any of our rats. And when we get to that point, the guns we need to be pulling out can no longer be the little like 22 caliber pistol of a 3-mana murder. We have to just totally clear the board so that every one of our creatures can get in. Yeah, Troper had previously said that they have Kindred Dominance. It's just not in this version of the list yet. So that will be going in, for sure. But I would do Plague Winds. I would do Ingaruk's Wake. You could do Raise the Palisade. Raise the Palisade. Very hot, lower mana option to kind of like slow everything down during the core turns. DMC, thank you for the 100-bit cheer. At Soulstorming, the sinister Goon Vizier must sometimes be scolded in open court. I understand this. My role is to be the dark whispers in the boss's ears, and like a true boss, he must wave his hand to shoo me away on occasion. I'm glad you understand, DMC. Thank you for continuing to be on top of the dog pile. Yeah, my worry about Crippling Fear, which was suggested as baby Kindred Dominance, is if we could kill anything with -3/-3, they're probably not a problem for the rats to begin with. Oh, this is almost hot. I do like this. I worry that it's too far down the Winmore chain, because notably this will fuck up our snail. This will hit our snail with the big -1/-1 effect, and if we have our commander, if we only have this in our commander, we only get -3/-3, which just makes it the card we just looked at. It is a minimum of -2/-2. 5 mana to give everything -2/-2 is like shut the fuck up, run Toxic Deluge. So this one I'm kind of about when it's just two more mana and we fully blow out everything else. I think the problem is we can't goldfish a version of this deck that's going to let us know if that would work or not, because so much has to change. starting with cutting rat out. First and foremost. But that's what I would do. I would lean towards the aggro. I would look at all the banners we talked to you about. I would put Valley Rock Collar in, and then I would go towards more of these repeatable draw engines. Gnawing Crescendo is already in. It's my like least favorite version of this effect, but it is somewhat acceptable. Oh hell yeah, trolls. I'm very happy for you. But like Splash Portal, good. I think Flicker's probably playable. Fuck Nat Miser, dude. Again, this is like okay, but we're not super big on killing our rats. We want to win with punchies. No, Valley Flood Collar is quite good in this Mythic Last. We have Distant Melody. Steaming Hot Take, thank you for the 2 New Zealand Super Chat. Welcome back to Dog Heaven. Faces of the Past. Nah, tapping and untapping doesn't really do anything for us. God, Gossip's Talent is bad. If you want this to be a like crazy fair and bad deck, it would be pretty hot. 7 mana flicker on combat damage. Like this is the 7 mana win more card that Win More Dreams are made of. Absolutely. Yeah, if we don't have the land Swarmyard in already, then we should put it in. Crazy shit. Crazy shit. Alec, I don't think it's just play Conjurer's Closet at that point. We are going to have a fair number of creatures that we're going to have a fair number of creatures coming into play. Surveil 1 does matter for this deck. Making at least one of our rats unblockable does matter for this deck, particularly for, I think it was like Throat Splitter. Okay. Oh, Slitter. So we're not including it just off of these, but like there's a fair amount of potential upside on this card that is not limited to hitting the 6 mana flicker option. Like again, you spend 5 mana and now every creature you control flickers itself on combat damage. Like, what does Keep Watch do? I don't like this just because it's an instant, and so for it to benefit us, we have to like get to a really big turn where we're holding this up. Well, right, Alec, but it's only like 2 mana, and then you get the whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you can flicker it. Mana Echoes is absolutely fucking insane. This is quite good. Very good rat tutor. I think you could definitely consider this. Let me get these long-ass names off the pyramid. I mean, Troper, right now you are... Now that I am seeing suggestions for Battle Hymn and Bedlam, chat is checked out. We're going to move on. We're going to rope it back in. Troper, you're currently lost. And I think that makes sense when the deck was half built out of a bulk box and half built out of a bottle of NyQuil. Please cut this shit. Ops Wanted Some Initiative is a great reference. Get this out of my goddamn face right now. And I would reorient this around, have some draw engines to trigger Mad Ratter, have a few of those other rats we suggested, and play around just like, I'm going to get in, I'm going to chip for damage, and then if I start to stall out, I'm going to sacrifice my snail piggy bank. Ink Eyes is already going in, Toastmasher. Boss, for next deck, am I submitting Troper's Villain Arc, The Real Pacific Rim 2, Cruel Ultimatum.deck, or Fallout New Vegas? Real Pacific Rim 2, please. We're going to hit a manual ad break, and then it is time for Starry-Eyed. So see you in just a moment, everybody. Okay. We are now home. Man, I'm still new to Magic, and Wick was literally the second deck I ever made. This list was almost identical to this one. I was so proud of it. Emphasis on was. Sorry, buddy. But we can make it better. Also, Mania Mind, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. Also, the Yeetress, thank you for the Prime sub. I appreciate those Jeffrey dollars very, very much. Goddamn Axeman Bat. Hey, Mauld, would you give me a theme or whatever restriction to make a bracket 3 deck using, which I'll then make you review? Okay. First of all, thank you for that contribution. Let me check your standing in the dog pile. Number 2 in the dog pile. Very generous of you. Theme or restriction? For mechanical theme, what I will give you is specifically Jeskai Flurry, which is like this card. Specifically casting my second spell, rather than not Jeskai Storm, not Jeskai I make infinite mana and I cast Crackle with Power, but specifically Jeskai 2 spell. So I would give you, the Jeskai 2-step, I think would be a theme I would be interested in seeing executed mechanically. For Butts is incredibly uninspired. I don't want to see any rendition of Butts. I was gonna jokingly suggest a cheese related card, but now that I'm actually looking at the cheese stands alone, I'm just mad now. Yeah. Absolutely, Troper. Thank you for submitting. Hey Mauld, what are a couple of decks that are on the cheaper side and easy-ish to make at bracket 4? If you want to do really high power and on the cheaper side, your best bet is probably going to be something like Yuriko or Winota. Personal question, Redeem. How close do you think the Ozolith comes to being a game changer? It is approximately 18,729 nautical miles away from being a game changer. And I say that as somebody who hates counters. If you have a +1/+1 counter strategy deck, we have beef. I know you think it's cool. I despise it with every fiber of my being. Is the Ozolith very important? Very important to you executing that strategy? Yes. Does it change the game? No. No more than your farts alter the atmosphere of the entire universe. DMC True, yes. Thank you for the 100 bits. I hate counters except for modular. The deck now is going to be Starry Eyes. Starry, are you ready to go? We just looked at some rats. Honest Pete, I would look at your Megas deck if you either paid me $500, waited for the free roasting stream on May 3rd, or paid me $69 on May 4th. Yes, sir. Okay. Deck in one word's bimbo, himbo, thembo. Hello, Mauld. You may remember accusing me of being a scaly when you saw parts of my Zeotora deck. Today, I am here to prove you correct. Provided here is a collection of cards, many of which depict scaly creatures whom I would smash without much, if any, hesitation. The primary trouble I encountered with this plan was that there were too many prime candidates outside of any one creature type to simply make a standard typal deck. As such, the deck functioning hinges strongly on my ability to play Maskwood Nexus. As it stands, the deck is unquestionably silly and questionably playable. If you can find ways to help it, please do, but if not, I am content to sit back and let you agree and disagree with my taste in reptiles. Without further ado, please hear me out. Listen. That banner art's perfect. Listen, we have fun here, right? We say a lot of stuff. It's the internet. Nobody knows you're a dog. Oh, wait, there's an email? Hold on. Email. Okay. Did Starry think better of sending in their Twitter bookmarks? Does Starry not want to be doxxed for their tastes live on... Hold on, let me find your email address. They the email says, hey, I made an actual deck I want your opinion on. Please. Okay. Oh my god, and it's still a scaly deck. Okay. Nice try. Nice try, you fucking bozo. Okay, hello Maul. You may remember me from the criminally responsible Zeotora deck that was defrauding the government to live in a one-bedroom studio apartment. I'm here today to show you just how financially responsible I can be. Following me is a crash course in responsible spending on my part and being a straight-up snitch to the IRS for the rest of the board. If I am not permanently labeled a narc for my choices here today, then I have failed. The goal is one of three things. Either I tax everyone to death, I do such a good job saving that I can beat people to death to my retirement fund, or in the rare instance that it comes on board and everything else works, I put my money into Helix Pinnacle and have a nice peaceful retirement. I never tried building mana burn, and I did my best to incorporate things I've heard you say about group hug type strategies to make sure my opponents can't actually use the mana they get. Tear my ass a new one, I deserve it. Alright, beautiful. Beautiful. Axeman Bat, whoa, it's almost as much as my loot deck. How is this $27,000? I mean, this is almost certainly proxied. This is almost certainly proxied. Alright, so we have Urlock. So if anybody hasn't played against Urlock before, he brings back Mana Burn. And for 1 mana, you can give everyone 3 mana. So most of the deck is like mana group hug to make people float a bunch of mana they can't use. Retirement plans, but not for me, as these are all X spells. This is so spiteful, huh? I want the class to see if they can identify the difference between I shoot everybody for 5x, I drain everybody for X, I make a board state, everybody loses 3x, or fuck you, Mike. Fucking beautiful. Good. Mike deserves it. A good insurance plan, calling in a noise complaint, HOA regulations, pay your taxes, Peter's college fund, property, tax-deductible charity donations, taking up stamp collecting, stimulus checks, Roth IRA, and real estate investments. Absolutely fucked up and hateful. What? Okay. I love the tags. If we are this big, if we're this big on X spells, I'm wondering why we don't have the like actual storage cards. Because we have Awakening, we have, I mean, maybe I just missed them because I did the tag tour and I didn't look at the hard thing. But if nothing else, there's that one stone. There's that one, not Helix Pinnacle, but like, if you would lose unspent mana. Horizon Stone is this guy. At minimum, they'd be under Roth IRA. Okay, we do have it. Dope. Alright, so we have ways to tap our lands. So we have ways to build up a lot of mana. Gemstone Array is hilariously somehow like the very best one. We have a good insurance plan. I don't know about good, but we do have an insurance plan. Do we really have the 1 of 1 ring proxied in here? Dark1234 Smith, thank you for the Twitch follow. Our calling in a noise complaint is... Oh, what the fuck? Okay, so we have some discard. We have some discard. We have some discard. Okay, that looks to me like asking to get beat up. Let's see how you deal with that. I mean, we do need them to not have spells to cast with that mana, but... Oh, Word of Command. You may look at opponent's hand and choose any card opponent can legally play using mana from his or her mana pool or lands. Opponent must play this card immediately. You make all the decisions it calls for. This spell may not be countered after you have looked at opponent's hand. So you can just make them... You can just make them cast something. Which is great fucking spite play. My plan for counteracting the mana I feed people is to make sure they don't have good cards to spend it on. I think there is a... I'm gonna sound crazy when I say this, right? I'm gonna sound crazy when I say this. I think a distinct weakness of, well, what if I just made them discard their good cards? What if I choose to discard the bad card? Now, if my opponents only have like one good card and they choose to dump it, like, yeah, hey, I got you. So could like an angry mouse? So I'll give you like maybe. We'll see if these effects can come in at high enough density that you could like legitimately prevent somebody from making any meaningful decisions. But this seems a lot more to me like I'm going to be broadly annoying. And if I'm playing into a Yearlock player, like this all seems really bad to me until you have them on 0 cards. Once you have them on 0 cards, this seems great. But as soon as we're like, haha, you only have 3 cards in hand. Wait a minute, why is one of them Crater Hoof? No! And then you die. And then you explode. Axeman Bat, thank you for the 10. Chromatic Orrery? I don't think so. But yeah, like the Misers specifically feel a lot more like you're being a theater kid villain than an actual villain. So there's Ansrag's Rampage. We can blow up artifacts. I mean, I guess we have this for like artifact removal, but I feel like this is... Ansrag's Rampage seems very specifically to me like we felt like we were better than playing a good card, so we played the less good card. Or I guess maybe we're trying to like plop out one of our ETB discard things. Assassin's Trophy, generally good. Ah, somebody's been hurt by an enchantment player before. Conqueror's Flail is fucking insane. What? Having a Grand Abolisher effect in a deck that mostly just wants to like pass and wait for other people to do things is no. This is fine, if a little expensive, but you get to float a lot of mana. Pest Infestation is... You really don't like the artifact and enchantment players. Okay, we are on... This is just trauma response.deck. That's beginning to make it make more sense. Blood Reckoning, I don't really believe in. I don't think you have that much to fear from a token player. I think you have a ton to fear from literally any dinosaur player. Like what there is a big gaping hole in this deck's plan, which is just what happens when somebody untaps for or taps out for Gishath. Oh, I'm so devious. I'm so sneaky. They'll never see me coming with my 30 mana. Wait, is that a 10/10? And then you blow up. No, this is not the trauma. This is This is not the trauma. This is a pillow fight. This is a pillow fight that might get a little bit out of hand if people have too much sugar. This is not the trauma. Yeah, we're on the $750 basics just to be dastardly. Okay, so we have some tutoring. Axeman Bat, thank you for the 500-bit cheer. Diabolic Revelation is not a real card. What the fuck? Yes, it is when you can tap 1,000,000 mana. Yes, it is. Okay, so we have Dictate of Karametra. We have Eladamri's Vineyard. So this is all the stuff that is going to give people more mana when they tap for mana. Got it. So I think the clear thing we're missing is playing both sides so I always come out on top. The space we would put that in is in the noise complaint section. The noise complaint section right now does not look to me, and I will test this in the goldfishing, but this does not look to me like it is a very solid way to lock people out of the game. But much like the previous rat deck that was running some of this stuff too, this does look like a very compelling reason for everybody to beat you to death. It is 14 incredibly good reasons to not let you draw breath after turn 5. When instead, what we want stuff is we either want full prevention, which would mean we have to go all the way into being empty-handed. And if we can't get full prevention, we want to benefit no matter what happens. And the way we benefit no matter what happens is like Karavek the Merciless. Oh, you had a bunch of spells you could cast with all the free mana I gave you. I don't get to mana burn you. Shucks. And then you throw a fucking grenade at their face. And so you do Karavek, you do Lord of Pain, and I think these are the two best versions of this effect. Where you get to leverage people spending the mana for damage. And you can also, you use this off of big spells that you cast. So if you want to be big on like X spells, Lord of Pain can turn your big X spells into damage. Helios, I'm sorry to hear your dad's being frustrating, my friend. Don't. So if you want to force people into top deck mode, as much as fucking as bad as the hot tub is gonna get, this is the kind of like maximum diarrhea that you have to have. You could replace all 14. You could replace all 14 of your hand rip cards with this, but then you have to lose your hand too. You also go into you also go hellbent. And like honestly, play with this so that you can see how shitty, bad, not fun of a time it is, and then stop trying to do the hand rip thing. Like replace all 14 of the hand rip cards with Sire of God, brains all over the place. Have one game where you replace all of your hand rip with Sire of Insanity. Really, really sit in how bad it feels for Sire of Insanity to be on the board, and then stop trying to do the hand removal. So how would you suggest keeping the mana from being a problem? I think the main avenues we're going to operate for that. One, with Yurlok, you kind of have to accept that you can't keep it from being a problem, and you're trying to ride the lightning. But let's talk about it. So we have The Lord of Pain. We also have Karavak the Merciless. And then we can look for other ways. If you have Zozu and Mana Barbs do not work at all. I mean, Mana Barbs is kind of like additional damage, but it's just another way. It's just like another way to convince people to be angry with you. I do like Painful Quandary. This way people will like deny themselves, or hopefully they will just choose to lose the life. Exotic Show, thank you for the 100-bit cheer. I know it's a complete rebuild, but it's funny to just build artifacts, add Radiant Lotus, and win games. That would be a pretty kooky way to prevent the mana from being a problem. Go Radiant Lotus, make an artifact, like make like a treasure generation deck, and then just go, okay, you get 40 mana in your fucking upkeep. Good luck spending it. Then another way I would prevent the mana from being too much of a problem is by doing stuff like War's Toll. So this is, if you're going to spend any of it, you have to spend all of it. A lot of people will have something big to tap out for, and if they have like one big thing to tap out for, but you're giving them like 3 mana per land, they might only tap like a third of their lands. Versus with War's Toll, this is going to be a way to make them full crank. It doesn't say you have to tap the lands for mana, though, does it? It just taps your lands. I need you to consider that's also good. So it's like, if they tap one land, they now have to tap all, like, the floor of this card is the Grand Abolisher effect, and the ceiling is that they end up floating more mana than they need anyway. And I believe Mana Web does the same thing. Yeah, Mana Web is another effect that does the exact same thing. And another thing I think you should be like more aware of is, so because Yurlok says Mana Burn is back, the deck seems to have worked itself into this loop of, okay, I want to win with Mana Burn. Another thing you can consider is you can just play really good, really effective cards because you're going to have a shitload of mana. Like, you want to know how you prevent other people having mana from being a really big problem? Is your curve is the least responsible one at the table. Which is, again, I realize I'm trying to convince you to not be a fucking cop, but like, you need to understand the badge is holding you back in Yurlok. If a major point of your deck is that you're able to make everybody float 20 mana, it goes against the bit. The bit is so unconvincing, though. Like the bit is my commander's text box is the only thing that exists, which is the default bit of every commander deck from the beginning of time. I mean, your curve is a lie because all your win cons are X spells. I think the bit being I'm so responsible fell apart as soon as you were like, all of my win cons are exsanguinate and exsanguinate byproducts. Like, you can lie to yourself. You cannot lie to me. We're already planning for the eventuality to be I have 50 mana. Dragodal, I think Goad's getting a little bit too lost in the sauce. Terrence, it's 27k off of specific land printings. So the thing about Spell Shock is it's going to operate as a storm tax, but it still doesn't do anything. It still doesn't do anything to the person who just taps out for a dinosaur. And also for the irony, it doesn't, that's not ironic. This is, apart from you being genuinely a little rapscallion. Oh, the price tag is ironic. Okay. Yeah. So like we can fix it a little bit by doing the noise complaint section, but for the most part, like if you give out this much mana and you don't have access to like a rule of law effect, you don't really have a way to turn off people being able to use the mana. The best thing you can do is just go taller than them. Like if we want a way to make it not a problem that my opponent got 10 mana, the literal best thing we can do is have a 10 mana spell that we can actually cast when they built a deck that was based around fucking land drops. Because we're the person who comes in knowing that we are upending the entire mana economy. We could drop a meteor on the dinosaurs, but for the most part, it's just like we could get... What Yurlok allows us to do that other commanders won't necessarily allow us to do is we can just fucking tape all of our interaction to like humongously expensive bodies. Got it. So I play as a billionaire bullying the poor people who don't know the system. I understand. Yeah, like and that's also, I really despise passive group slug commanders. So that is a very specific like me thing, is any deck that's like, once I play my commander, if I just wait 15 turns, you'll all die of old age. Like, pfft, no. No, please do something more interesting. It is a bad strat against anybody who's sentient. That's the thing, Dr. John, is that type of sit back and wait strategy is incredibly effective against the blind and the illiterate, and against everybody else it just makes us go like, oh, okay, I guess we're 3v1ing you for a little bit. Axeman Bat, thank you for the 100-bit cheer. Okay, but like smothering rug, not rub, and or maddening hex. Those are very possible, but smothering rug in particular is again just like, it's much more geared towards stopping a high power deck, because it's geared towards stopping somebody from playing like a million different spells rather than playing like here, Rurik Thar, this is your guy. 6 mana, you can play him like turn 4. And then it's like, oh, you want to use these spells? Go ahead, dog. Descent into Avernus is one of the like classic sit back and wait things. I don't think we want to give people treasures, because a lot of our stuff is okay. These are permanents actually. Oh no, these are lands. I'm not confident we want to give out treasures. Treasures allows people to be very, very exacting with how they spend their money, and that's fucked up and bad for us. But yeah, so I really think the best direction you can go for a deck like this is it's going to be mana burn, good luck keeping up fucko, and you just push the gas pedal down with these like big angry pieces like Rurik Thar, and take advantage of the fact that you have a deck that can spend 12 mana in a turn when they don't have a deck that can spend 12 mana in a turn. Joey, it's Helix Pinnacle, which they talked about in the primer for this deck. But let me just see how the discard stuff works this time. So we get no lands. We do our free mulligan. We have $5,000 in my hand. I'm gonna make you keep this hand to show you how fucking bad Conqueror's Flail is. But hey, we at least have a storage counter. Turn 2, I will put a storage counter on Fungal Reaches. Turn 3, I will put a storage counter on Fungal fucking Reaches. I will play my commander on Curve. I will play Eladamri's Vineyard. I will put a storage counter on Fungal motherfucking Reaches. I will play the Bog useless Conqueror's Flail. Next turn, it's turn 6. I float 2 green. I use one of those green to put a storage counter on my goddamn fucked up Fungal Reaches. I will use the other green to activate Yurlok's ability. I will use the black and the red to play Kroxa. I have now forced everybody to discard 1 card. I'm so good and scary. I have 1 green mana floating from the Yurlok stuff, so I will use 1 of it to cast Soulless Jailer, and tell everybody about the one time I played against a really annoying graveyard deck. Okay, I equip Conqueror's Flail. Literally nothing changes. If anybody is staring at Yurlok hard enough that we need Conqueror's Flail to protect him, something has gone desperately, desperately wrong, or those people hate you. If this board state required you to have Conqueror's Flail to protect it, they have a group chat without you, and they talk badly about you, and you need to separate them from your life. So anyway. Kroxa gets sacrificed because he didn't escape. We're not filling our graveyard, so we are never replaying this motherfucker. We have 4 more mana. We will trauma response, blow up enchantments we don't control. All our lands are tapped, so we're very happy here. Yurlok mana. So let's see, actually. I use 1 of the Yurlok mana, or 1 of the Eladamri mana to tap Yurlok. I use... So now I have 4 floating. I spend another 1, so I have 3 floating. I play Burglar Rat. I've forced each person to discard 2 cards over the course of this game. Notably, I also haven't, I have not pumped up the jam on how much mana they're getting. I've mana burned for, 6 people. Or, I've mana burned for 6 on all people maximum if they don't have instants. And I've added 2 pips to everyone else's pool, which most people can probably spend. I play Aclazotz. I am now hellbent Oh, each player's main phase. 4 per... I thought it was first. I thought that was a... Yeah, it's first main phase. It's only first main. Yeah, it's not as good as you believe. So for the comments about how Conqueror's Flail is ensuring that the Yearlock mana always goes to burn, it is a particularly cute tree in an otherwise clear-cut forest. Like, yes, it is cute that we get to tap Yearlock for 3, and now they don't get to spend the mana. So it is, hey, guaranteed I'm making you take 3 damage on my turn. That's fine. If we were in some type of like, I'm going to double all the damage effects, I'm going to hit you with like wound reflection, I'm going to find ways to untap Yearlock a ton. Like if you were on Sonic Street, if a fairy's sucking your dick starry-eyed, then yeah, you get to bust. But if like the whole deck, like we're down here. We're down here right now talking about like how good the Conqueror's Flail is. So if you want to go like, this is the Yearlock special, I'm going to run Patriarch's Seal. I'm going to run 1,000-Year Elixir. I'm going to run, what is it like? I don't even know if we could trigger Thornbite Staff, but it at least says maybe there's some weird fucked up Thornbite Staff line you're doing here. But if you were doing like, I am doing the Yearlock untappy special. Again, fucking like, it's about concentration, dog. It's about concentration. In fact, it being like, the deck can be on turn 7 doing nothing, or I can have 3-card infinite win the game, is so much fucking worse. It's so fucking like, I really just think this whole 14-card section led you deeply, deeply astray. And there is something to the Conqueror's Flail is good if we are extremely confident that we're going to be tapping Yearlock multiple times a turn every single game. In this deck, it kind of looks like we are down in the 5th layer of Win More Hell. Unless I go infinite taps, float infinite mana, and infinite taps, infinite mana, infinite death, then it's fine. No, Umbral Mantle is not infinite by itself, but notably once we play, I believe it would have to be Mana Reflection or Nyx Bloom, but the things that make permanents specifically tap for additional mana, then Yearlock taps for extra, and then it becomes mana positive. So if you want it to be like a pretty strong deck, then I would build around that. But otherwise, we just have sort of... Yeah, this whole section strikes me as like a teenager who's yelling slurs into a COD lobby because they've like learned how to be a bad boy for the first time. And so if you want to build around the Yearlock special, I was focusing more on the bit than it being really good. I hear you, but the point about focusing on the bit, like what makes a bit good is the ability for it to play. It's like the same premise as a prank's not funny if the other person isn't laughing at the end of it. Like it being, if it's, for the bit, I have an unplayable deck. That's not a bit. It just, and so I'm just gonna stamp this paragraph onto your head, because I think I don't even know if we're in interesting to you. I think this is the next level of good sentence, bad deck, where great tags, great tags, And I think you can even keep calling in a noise complaint, but just make like... Keep in mind, this is not the specific creature you want. I don't play enough green to know what the asymmetric version of this is. But just be like, this is my HOA board. Like we can keep 100% of the bit the same, and we just have to turn the cops into like big one-sided pieces of interaction that matter more for our board state. And then it's like, is it a bit? Yes. Is it cohesive? Yes. Does it participate in the commander game? Yes. And then we're aces. We might not be peak because boy howdy do motherfuckers hate control, but we're getting close at that point. Yeah, like Terastodon? Hell yeah. This is the police K9 unit. They smelled weed in your garage. Open up. And then this also solves the mechanical problem of like, how do I deal with everybody else having all this fuck ass mana and having the ability to play such good cards? Is you just go like, oh, that's fine. On my turn, I tap out and I blow up all your good shit. And then you just turn all your... Hold on, let me look. Yeah, and then you just use like... You use overcosted multi-removal tools. And then you fuck everybody up. So right now, I love you reaching out. The secret plan was to trick Maul into endorsing police corruption. Yes, this deck does deserve to abuse the badge. Oh my god, can we play Casualties of War? Yeah. This is how. Is we just go, oh damn, you guys did a lot of crazy shit with all that mana I gave you. Oop. And then it's all blown up. Yeah, we could hit the ultimatums too. Very Sane Owl, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. Yeah, like Yurlock is going to make possible for you. Yurlock will make possible for you so much like overcosted, ridiculous bullshit that you never get to run in your other commander decks because you're like, I can't tap out for that. I have to play other cards. Your deck could conceivably go, okay, I play Windgrace's Judgment and then I play Archon of Cruelty. Pass. I spend, how much is that? That's 8. I spend 13 mana turn fucking 7. Good luck, James. And yeah, I think you switch it to like, I think you have the right idea and you need to more fully embrace the idea of being a billionaire. Perfect. Excellent. And then I think we slide steadily up the eastern face. All right, so we got to hit one more ad break. And then Rose Knight, are you still ready to be roasted? Because it will be your turn. I think we can hit a slightly shorter ad break. Afro Soul on YouTube says, I gotta say, watching Mald has made me rethink my funny, goofy, odd decks and makes me build better, funnier decks. I'm very glad to hear that, Afro Soul. I mean, I do hold it very sacred in my heart. The idea of like funny sentence, bad deck is so compelling, and we must fight that urge all the time. I have so many funny sentence bad decks that never see the light of day because I'm like, oh wait, I forgot the part where this has to play Magic. I haven't played at MLP. All right, so I'm gonna get a little bit more water, and then Starry, we will jump into your deck roast. But I see that you, or Rose Knight, not we just did Starry. Rose Knight, we will jump into your deck roast after I get a little bit more water. Okay, motherfuckers. So does my Balin Bunnies deck fall into jail forever now? It's not around for this grading rubric. I'm going to say that I think the ephemeral nature of the grading rubrics is something that is going to change over time and is going to stay special to each deck. So if your deck got rated as like tuned spiteful and we've moved on from tuned spiteful, I'm going to stop like cross-referencing, this is what this deck would have been in a different timeline. Every moment is special, and yet every moment passes. And yet, if you want a new 2-sentence rating system for your deck, I require an additional $300. Not really, but I think that very quickly it will become like too much to try to keep up with like applying all of the bespoke deck matrices to each deck. Got a weird one. Can Galea, Kindler of Hope, cast bestow creatures off the top of your deck? I don't know, because I'm an idiot. I don't know, because I'm a massive, massive idiot. We have the immediate yes and the immediate no. I love getting advice on the internet. All right. Let's go to Rose Knight's deck. The deck in one word is suspended. The primer is wobbly theremin noises. Welcome to this week's episode of Doctor Who, where the Doctor and Clara go on wacky adventures while being chased by horrors from beyond space and time. Ideally, I'd like this deck to operate in spooky, although because I have to work so much harder than everyone else to do my gimmick, this deck couldn't win a game in Spell Tables Bracket 2, and is almost certainly barred from the land of scary. Yes, I do suffer from the Temur brain sickness, how could you tell? Suspend-nanigans! Wait. I have to work so much harder than everyone else to do my gimmick. Is your gimmick like you play the deck with your eyes closed? Where is the... Rose, where's the hard work coming in? Are your sleeves weighted? Do you have to do maybe like a push-up for every mana you would have to spend on the suspended card? We're in Temur big mana, and the first sentence out of your primer was, oh, Mauled, oh, how am I to get through one of these games? How am I to work? I have to work so hard than these wafing Izzet players, than these banal Orzhov players. All they do is cast Manarog, cast spell. They have it so easy. I have to put the gun on the table for 3 turns and tell everyone where my shins are located. Let us examine in depth how untrue this is. So what's Clara doing? So we have on attack, exile till we hit non-land. Put 3 time counters on it. So in 3 turns, boom, we get a free massive asshole. Clara's 6 mana. If a triggered ability would trigger it, that ability triggers an additional time. I immediately see where we went wrong. Have a very nice day. Protection would be nice. Yep, 2 pieces. Definitely don't need more. But Mauled, what if I did the thing more? You've tagged 8 here. I have a sneaking suspicion the entire deck could be tagged with this. So cloning's good. Like, I can't think of any world where having Autumn Soldier in here is bad. I'm sure that whatever horrors you are playing are good to clone. I'm sure that cloning the 10th Doctor would be good. I'm sure that cloning an opponent's commander would be good. Irenicus' Vile Duplication, also probably good if you have all these massive hits. Same goes for Quantum Misalignment. Roaming Throne is greedy. However, like, this is what I'm finding hard to believe is in a deck like this, you probably just need this to happen once, right? Like, if you play Roaming Throne and then the next turn you play the 10th Doctor and you swing the Roaming Throne, either you flip bad stuff and people aren't freaking out, or you flip presumably Ulamog and you're chilling anyway. So 11th hour. Search for a doctor. I see we have doubled down on taking 3 turns before anything good happens. So Rose, when you said gimmick, you talked about I have to put my gun on the table for 3 turns before I can do anything with it. By gimmick, do you just mean commander text box, or do you have something you consider a bit that is happening in the background? Because we can make 10th Doctor text box. We can make 10th Doctor text box without making it move through molasses to play the card game. But if the bit is very specifically, if I want to do anything, I have to loudly announce it to the table and then wait 3 turns to do it, that's going to be harder in Temur. That's kind of like, if your bit is monologuing, I'm not sure how much work we can do on it. So is it just the, like, I want to win through 10th Doctor shenanigans, or I have a more, like, dedicated comedic timing bit going on here? All right, here are the horrors. True. And then we have, yeah, all the fucked up Big Eldrazi. All probably fine, honestly, in terms of big fucked up things you want to flip. Officially, suspend horseshit is the... So it is a mechanical gimmick, right? That's what I'm trying to get to the bottom of. Is this a mechanical gimmick or is it a flavor gimmick? And it seems like this is a mechanical gimmick. If they can't block the attack trigger, it might die less. That's true. However, I think you probably don't care. Like, I think he could die, and if we got his ability to trigger one time, we're happy. Manipulating cards. Cast a creature spell, big creature. Will he... Our commander will trigger that. Guardian Project. Draw 2. Ah. I see this is very technically part of the gimmick, as it is a bad card we have included because it says suspend upon it. Then we have Joy... Okay, and right in the other direction, we have a crazy fucking super good card that we don't really have a lot of ways to trigger. Matsatlante's fine card selection. This is fine card selection. Okay, so in a 30 creature deck, the green, when creature enter, I get a card. Those are not off the bat wrong. Those are fine kind of categorically. But I want to impress upon you, you really, really don't want draw and discard in this deck. The versions of draw, like if we're talking about manipulating cards, this is God's favorite brainstorm deck. Like this is the best brainstorm deck, well, the second best brainstorm deck after Yuriko. Inspiring Refrain says every time I activate my commander, draw 2, and that's like, that's so sweet of you, right? That's so sweet of you that you believe that's the valid game plan to go for. So let's talk about that later. But your deck in particular, when it comes to manipulating the cards that you have, you want Brainstorm, you want Brain Surge, you even, God, for one of the first times, I'm gonna openly recommend a Jace Planeswalker, but we're going to really want, where is the motherfucker? Holy shit, is Mind Sculptor Jace good for you? Anything that will let you pick explicitly, what's going to be suspended is very, very good for you. And I want you to think about it. A lot of people think about this from, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to guarantee that. Like, I think it's lame if I use Brainstorm to guarantee that I play Ulamog, because then I just always win the game the same way. What I want to posit to you is this deck has to maneuver very carefully from a political standpoint. Because you have to put the gun on the table so far in advance, there are many times in the early game where it will serve you better to suspend something that is mid. There are many times where suspending Inspiring Refrain will be infinitely less threatening than anything else you do. And so when you're going to be able to get away with it, cards like Brainstorm can guarantee that you flip the spaghetti monster when it's time. Otherwise, this deck very much seems like it's trigger maxing for the point of trigger maxing. Like, this deck is scrolling through TikTok and its TikTok feed is just like person camera in the center, and then it has Subway Surfers on top and like a Minecraft VOD on the bottom. Like you are just overloading the dopamine loop instead of getting one solid bust. And so like Joyra I resent from a threat perspective alone. Because I don't think you have the tools to trigger this over and over and over. And whenever anyone else sees Joyra, they're going to be like, oh, you're going to trigger this over and over and over. I gotta fucking kill you. So it's not a bad card draw engine, but it is a card draw engine that is so typically abused that the fact that you're not abusing it all that much. But Mauled, press button, get brain juice. Yes, I'm trying to give you more brain juice. Like, I think this deck is limited on how much brain juice it's giving you because you just have it in the corner and you're just trying to squish more juice out of it all the fucking time. I'm trying to say, have you ever cooked a steak? Like, a really important part of cooking a good steak is letting it rest. Because when you let a steak rest, if you cut it before it's rested, which is just letting it like cool down for a few seconds, either out of the oven or right after you fry it, you let all the juices soak back up into it. And if you cut it straight after cooking without resting it, all the juice just comes out. You juice max, and then your steak becomes fucking leathery and bad. And that's what you're doing here. And what we want to let you do is take a little bit more time setting up, and then you can get these like big juicy turns that are going to make you really, really happy and are going to work, instead of going, okay, well, I got Wolfgar and I got Clara, and now I'm going to have the 10th Doctor and I swing and he's going to die, but I'm going to get to like suspend 4 things and oops, they all suck because I have no way to control what's going off the top of my library and everybody kills me. Like, maybe I got It That Betrays and 3 things that suck, and now everyone's going to beat me to death before It That Betrays can come down. That's more what I'm speaking to than being like, none of these are bad payoffs. None of these individually are bad synergy pieces. But we are like so deep on... we're so deep on making the commander thing happen more versus making the commander thing complete. We're starting 18 different projects and we're finishing none of them. So manipulating suspend. Amy Pond. When deal combat damage, choose a suspended card you own and remove that many time counters from it. Oh god, you are sick. Okay. I realize the Team Your Brain Sickness might have you in a grip. This is better than Clara Oswald. I don't know anything about Doctor Who, but her and the 10th Doctor, whoever you have, they should at least be metaphorically kissing. This is so much better than what Clara Oswald is doing for you, even if you lose green. But if you are a deep down green lover, I'll try to work with you. Joyra of the Gitu. So notably, this doesn't manipulate suspend. It does say suspend on it, and so it will also benefit from the things that manipulate suspend, but it doesn't manipulate it itself. All right, so we're doing extra upkeeps to take off 2 suspend counters every turn. This is cheap enough that it's not ridiculous. So Rose, my question is, why do we need green if most of our horrors beyond comprehension are truly, truly colorless? Like, it seems like we have green just to say we're in Temur, and then it's obviously like our entire ramp section, but like we do, like Izzet decks have ramped before. It takes us a while. We're not great at it. But a lot of the green stuff in here seems to be the primary progenitor of this kind of like win more behavior. And so I'm kind of wondering why Temur? Why do we want it to be Clara? Rift Elemental. Okay. Mana dump. Mana dump. Take time counters off. That's quite nice. Shadow of the Second Sun. Really don't like that. Sphinx of the Second Sun. Okay. Are getting additional upkeep phases to trigger the suspend counters coming off is not wrong. It's not wrong to go for it. But what it kind of is like, for these to be coming down realistically, the gun is already on the table and it's yet another telegraphed thing you're doing. Usually if you're doing something telegraphed, you have to be doing something else sneaky. You have to be doing some type of misdirection if you actually want to execute on any of your plans. Like if every single thing you do is telegraphed, at that point the gimmick of the deck is monologuing. You are Syndrome and you do deserve to die horribly. So it's not that I'm against these in terms of getting additional upkeeps, but I like things like Rift Elemental much more. I like Time Beetle much more. Even Wibbly Wobbly Timey Wimey I like more. I like stuff that we can potentially do as a sort of surprise round after we've swung with the 10th Doctor, versus it being something where this is yet another 5 mana setup piece I have to stick onto the field before I'm allowed to cook. Yeah, Signal the Clans seems okay in general. More combat do mean more attack trigger. Hey. If we want to be working with green for ramp, I am down with that. Come on. Come on now. Don't. Listen. This is a safe place. Okay? I'll make it safe for you. I'll make it safe for you, but you can't tell me I needed green for the ramp. It means I play Doc on 4. If it's in your opening hand, it lets me do the thing, so does a fucking land. Okay, so... Oh. The situation in which I would allow this is if this deck was all about bonuses for casting stuff from exile. If our deck was fucked up crazy with things like Wild Magic Sorcerer, such that the suspend triggers were leading into additional value. Mox Tantalite in general wouldn't work with Wild Magic Sorcerer because it's because they cost nothing. But my brain is broken from looking at Mox Tantalite for more than 10 seconds. So if we were on stuff that said when cast from exile, do thing, like Unstable Amulet, then I would be more open to the idea of, okay, we just put in anything that has suspend. However, we're specifically doing 10th Doctor shenanigans. These include suspend, but it is not just, hey, this thing has suspend on it, therefore it's a good card. If you pay 7 to get Mox Tantalite faster, I cannot help you. No, Rose, I would not be surprised if you had hit upon exile cast triggers at some point in what I'm assuming is the weekend-long bender that went into making this deck. But what I'm going to try to frame the ramp around for you is like a card that you're obviously missing. Because what we want desperately, we want to have things that can attack the turn we play the 10th Doctor. Now you have Birds of Paradise, that can attack. Other things we want, and this is really just one card that you're missing, but Ornithopter of Paradise. If we either ramp hard enough, if we ramp hard enough to leave these open as attackers, having potential flying attackers is such massive upside for us. There's not too many of these. I think it's literally just Ornithopter of Paradise and Birds of Paradise. So it's not like this whole swath of flying mana dorks that you're missing out on. And again, most cases these aren't even going to be available the turn that you play the 10th Doctor, because you're going to tap them out to get the 10th Doctor out. But like Mox Tantalite is ridiculous. Fireplace is even fine because we can spend mana to time travel. Bad Floof, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub, my friend. Welcome to the dog home. Alando the Seer would not be wasted space in this deck because it can take time counters off of other things we own in exile. Like, a lot more of the deck needs to be oriented around how do I take extra time counters off stuff, and how do I have that stuff in play before I play the 10th Doctor. Shadow of the Second Sun and Sphinx of the Second Sun, very importantly, don't happen until we've conceivably already dropped our commander. And at that point, like, we have to be cheating. We have to be cheating at the game by then, because otherwise the table has too much time to react to us. So yeah, Alando could replace Joyra Weatherlight Captain, and you would be very, very happy. Other things on the Brainstorm train is the old classic Scroll Rack. This is another way to keep a lot of tight control over what you are going to hit off of your first Doctor trigger. Netherese Puzzle Ward is neat. That's not true. It's weird. We're not leaning into mega upkeeps. That was not the point of talking about the fucking Shadow of the Second Sun and Sphinx of the Second Sun. Don't lean more into extra upkeeps. Lean more into fucking time counters. God damn it. I'm gonna fucking... I love Scryfall, dude. Okay. Like, even Fury Charm is playable for you. This is your version of a Braid. You can give a combat trick. Like, they printed this basically specifically for Amy Pond. But anyway, this is the type of stuff you want in your manipulating time counter section. You want to go like, you want people to go, okay, we have this long to deal with whatever problem they're about to create, and then you want to jump scare them. You don't want to monologue the entire time and give them the full 3 turns to answer it. Even like, God, this is bad but playable. Oh, what a bad card. that's also playable. And then also time crafting. So these are the cards that I would use to mess with your suspend counters rather than trying to mess with them by having another big unwieldy synergy piece that doesn't really do anything for us by itself. Paradox Haze I'll let you keep because it's cheap enough that you are conceivably playing this before your commander comes down. But let me see how the dream currently lives. This deck's heat, bro. Holy shit. I am bowled over. I am bowled over by the incredible motion. By the incredible motion. Alright, so we get Aether Tunnel. Good. Yeah. That's gonna tear the club up, bro. I couldn't have wrote that shit if I was trying to get 2 better hits to prove how bad the deck's current construction was. We get Rose, you gotta run. They're gonna get you. They see you exile Aether Tunnel and Jorah of the Gitu in a deck with 12 artifacts. You're in danger. Holy shit, brother. You might be cooking too hard. Doodles, I don't give a fuck about where the exiled lands go. Next turn. Do we have things to do with these time counters? I think so. Okay, but now let's get really crazy. We have an extra 10th Doctor. We swing again. Nobody has reacted to our deck because they saw what we can exile and they are not impressed. We suspend Paradox Haze. We suspend Aqueous Form. Alright, suspend Signet. That's just unlucky. And we get other Jorah. Dog. Are the horrors beyond comprehension the noises you make after you hit these fucking suspend triggers? Is that the horror? You blubbering in shame underneath the commander table? So like Paradox Haze that we hit out of this, legitimately good card that we saw at the wrong time. Arcane Signet, legitimately good card that we saw at the wrong time. Jorah of the Gitu could work if our deck was much more focused on manipulating time counters. So really we hit 3 things that were semi-useless. I'm calling the unblockable stuff semi-useless because I really think it's fine if whatever we swing to trigger the 10th Doctor dies. I think if the deck is made correctly, you can chuck a creature, even the 10th Doctor, into the trash to trigger them, and you're chill. And so these 2 things are wasted. I think the deck is not built to take advantage of this Jorah. And the rest of these 3 can be seen as evidence for why you need all that brainstorm shit. Why we need stuff where we don't want to gamble unless we're the house. And if we're gambling as the house, we need more things to keep a tight grip of like what's going to come off the top next. Like, God, you could even play this. And so I would use Alondo, I would use Brainstone, I would use Ornithopter of Paradise, I would get those weird fucking... that suspend mana rock, chuck that into the trash alongside Soul Talisman. Oh god, we could use Soothsaying. That's hilarious. We can make Soothsaying good. That gets to be your dream. Your dream is not, what if I had 8 combats and I suspended 18 different things? Your dream is, what if I made Soothsaying a playable card in Commander? So anything you can do to control the top of your deck. Soothsaying is obviously... Did you see my bid for I'm allowed to play Sol Ring, you guys? I did not see it. It is immediately rejected. No, you are not. I think calling Soul Talisman fair Sol Ring, that is real, and I think it's just like, it's just worse here than playing Land Ramp. It's just flatly worse than playing Ramp that lets you actually spend the mana sooner. If you want to spend your... Oh my... Wait, we have fucking Blightsteel in here? We have Blightsteel in here and we can't win at Spell Table Bracket 2? At this point, I don't think we could kill somebody if we were left in charge of an emergency room, dog. What is... It's this gun I found. I mean, so the thing is, for Spooky, this is a totally acceptable, like, soft win condition. It's big creature. If you can't answer it, I'm going to kill you all one by one. Sure. For Spooky, that's okay. This is actually one of the few times where our top end is actually fine for Spooky. We just haven't built any of the support to make the top end actually happen. We just have this gun I found, and then, what is this? This gun I found and 7 other Eldrazi that we are maladaptive daydreaming about. So I want you to move some resources from the maladaptive daydreaming into... I'm going to be able to set up a good top deck. I'm going to be able to move time counters off of permanents in a method that my enemies do not predict. And then your top end can stay, and then it's good. And then it's just fucking sick. No, this is ridiculous as a method to set up the top of our library because it requires, like... It requires far too much mana investment, and it's too clunky at trying to rearrange the top card of our library. Don't illusionist bracers. Don't do that. But I think we're also missing, like, other mana dorks. I think you would be, again, if I've said it once, I've said it a million times. You do not care if you throw this guy away on turn 4 to get 1 solid suspend trigger. If you get a good enough ramp out that you can even cast this guy, like, turn 3... On turn 3, you can probably swing a 1/3 somewhere without getting it killed. So I would heavily suggest that you invest more in mana dorks than you do invest in mana rocks. If you want non-land ramp, make it a creature, because the creature you can chuck into a meat grinder. You can just, he can die for the 10th Doctor, and you'll be happy about it. There's also a little value top. We're not even going to pretend that this card is not fucked up, but it will be fucked up for you in a very strong and fun way. This is yet another way to have a little bit of control over what am I suspending? Like full idiot gambling, that's for the Cascade players. That's for the Atali players. You are a nerd with a moderately large bottom. You have to be fucking careful. And if you don't want to get blown out, you have to be able to control what you're going to flip, because you have to use that to gaslight your table into thinking you're not actually the problem. On that note, another crazy good card draw engine for you. Again, not the best in terms of top deck control because you can only do things that you drew this turn. But this is just another way to be like, am I getting my lands? Am I getting my ramp? And can I have any little bit of additional control you can exercise over what comes off this first suspend trigger is going to dictate the pace and the attitude of every game you have. Yeah, Sylvan Library will kill you if you're not responsible, and it's good. If Sylvan Library kills you, it's just a lesson and you move on. I want to tell you I'm a little bit torn about this only because we certainly have a lot of generic cards. I'm not convinced they're all good. You have some cards that are generically good. Your finishers are generically good. That's hot. We're kind of on like generically generic card right now. So maybe a little bit more. But shout out Rose GPT. Gotta be my favorite deck builder. So I fuck with the vision of let's suspend stuff, let's suspend horrors beyond comprehension because that's kind of thematic for the nature of Doctor Who. And I think we've gone way too much into the what if I just like smashed this orange for the 20th time versus allowing the orange to ripen. Hey Mald, can the Insta Roast be redeemed during a roast stream? In general, I'm going to say yes. I am going to urge anybody in chat who's thinking about doing that, maybe wait until Friday because I am like about to fall over. And so if there was ever a day you were not going to get your money's worth, it would probably be right now. This deck has hurt my head, Troper has hurt my heart, and my neck is about to explode outside the bottom of my skull. So as much as I do want $500, I would love to put on $500 worth of show, and I don't feel abundantly confident about that at present moment. Well, here's the thing, Thaco. Apex Devastator is not a horror beyond comprehension. Apex Devastator is a horror totally within comprehension. We stream Friday, Starry. That is the next stream. But Rose, thank you for the submission. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope this helped at least a little bit, because I do think you have, for one of the first times, we have a thing where this shell is the part that doesn't work, but your outcomes work. I fully believe if you get to resolve any of these fucked up things, dope. Also, oh god, we fucking, we glossed over your reckless lack of interaction. And so one thing I will say about that, please, God, please recognize interaction gives you agency. A really important thing you can do is play stuff like Terastodon, play stuff that has interaction stapled to a body, whereas right now, River's Rebuke, actually good. You can use this as a politics piece. Call Forth the Tempest. This is just going to convince everybody to act reckless. Alpha Brawl. Fucks, actually. This one's really cool. But I do think you probably need at least a tiny bit more interaction, even if it's just low mana counter spells. Oh. All right, so now we are going to raid out for the day. The next time we will be live is this Friday. We're going to be going back to the Darkest Dungeon streams. It's been a while since we got back into the mines, and we're getting there Friday. For now, we're going to raid. Let's see which of our friends are online. Beard Princess is playing Danny Treyhork in the new Oblivion remaster. So let's go raid Beeps. Everybody be kind. Hit them with the Indestructible Justin raid message. Rose Knight, you saying they end up in the suspend zone honestly makes sense. After you do all of the brainstorm stuff, try them out again. See if that's any better. Anyway, hit them with the Indestructible Justin rant. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for your patience, and I hope our roasties enjoyed their roast today. I will see you all Friday, and please remember to stay toxic.